She's dead. Wrapped in plastic.
Welcome to the Twin Peaks Podcast.
Damn good coffee. And hot. Would everyone please take a seat?
Welcome to the Twin Peaks Podcast for the finale of The Return. I'm Matt.
I guess I can be Jow Day today.
This is Jow Day.
I'm driving.
Yeah, always driving.
Still a Tulpa.
And we have a special guest, Alirio.
Yay!
Yes.
Unless you're
also known
else.
as I'll be drunk by the middle of this podcast.
That's
Who isn't?
That's okay, we were drunk earlier.
Yeah, I'm coming down off my drunkenness.
Yeah.
Thought I should be professional.
Yeah.
Podcast sober. Okay, so yeah, this was the finale. Alirio, you've been on before. You've probably told us the Twin Peaks story before, but if you'd care to do it again, that's fine. If you want to give context for where you're coming from.
Yeah. I watched it air live on the television with commercials and all that crap, and I was the only person in my entourage. I was in my last year of high school then, and I was the only person that I knew that knew about it. And it was kind of just the thing that I fascinated over, and it was pre-internet, so there was no real way to like get any information. And then after that Where's Annie finale, I was so looking forward to Firewalk with Me, and so it was my first brush with prequel disappointment. Although the anticipated disappointment really disappeared as soon as I realized, hey, this is actually a really good movie. I love it. And then when I heard that there were murmurings of this, I didn't believe it at first. And then I was very hopeful. And then I found out that it was actually going to happen. And then I didn't pay any attention to any of the cast lists or spoilers or anything like that. And I just... the day it aired, I had actually forgotten about it. And, a busy life, all this stuff. And then I watch, and I'd say the first, few episodes were just, wow, this is kind of neat. I mean, I can't believe I'm watching Twin Peaks. And then that fascination slowly turned into frustration. And then part 8 came out, and I was simultaneously flummoxed, confused, and exhilarated. I thought it was really neat. I have to say, I thought it was really neat. As far as David Lynchian stuff goes, it really wasn't an episode of Twin Peaks. But again, it's part of a blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to say it. I don't want Brad to kill me. And so that kind of threw me for a bit of a loop. And that's when I realized, wow, he's just doing whatever the fuck he wants. And I kind of looked at that as like, oh, that's really cool. He gets to do what he wants. And then slowly realized, oh no, he's getting to do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And I found a lot of it frustrating. I found some of the parts endearing. I found overall for me there was way too much Gordon Cole.
Yeah.
Like we don't need that much Gordon Cole. Like really too much Gordon Cole. I loved having Miguel Ferrer on my TV.
Yeah.
For me, that was awesome. I loved having Hawk on my TV.
Yeah.
And my take on this particular season is kind of like what I felt about the new Doctor Who since 2005. I'm just kind of happy it exists. So from a certain perspective, I'm just kind of grateful. But from another perspective, holy shit, this sucked. It was just terrible. Guys, it was terrible. Oh my gosh. Like, but not just terrible. It was like elementary school project level terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people get how there is a difference between style and not giving a fuck over, like about quality.
Yeah.
And it really felt like a lot of this was, I don't know. I'm not on board with there's stuff for us to figure out. I don't buy that. I think Lost had a lot to do with me never thinking that about a TV show ever again, because that really led us all down a road of speculation and over-analysis, and then finally it was just a fucking TV show.
Yeah.
And this, even though it was billed as not just a TV show but something else that I know I can't say, this was pretty bad. This was pretty bad. There were some moments where I wondered if people realized that they were actual takes. And then at the end, I don't want to get ahead of us, but basically we just got some Cooper Diane fanfic. And it didn't really feel like it was anything greater than that. So overall, I'm very disappointed.
Are you sure you don't mean to say it's the most brilliant thing you've ever seen?
It's not the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. The most brilliant thing I've ever seen is a short film starring William B. Davis, where in the future you can pay a company to download your brain into a robot, but they're so expensive that the way you finance it is that you indenture your robot to hundreds of years of service. And William B. Davis talking to a salesperson about what model of robot and what length of indenturement to have for his mind is, to me, the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. It's maybe about 10 minutes long, and I recommend everyone try and find it. It is the most brilliant thing ever. I can't remember the name, even though I can track down the email. I actually contacted the filmmaker a while ago, and it's just the most brilliant thing I've ever seen.
Alirio, 10 minutes, you say? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Only?
Yeah.
They didn't need 18 hours?
I think...
Didn't need 18 hours.
Just added just a few extra hours? It's like 9 more hours.
Tell you guys, I gotta tell you, it was the most brilliant thing I've ever seen, partly because it was really quick, and it got straight to it's almost like it had story, it had characters, and it had a certain level of nuance so that you could fill in gaps yourself. It was pretty awesome.
How many minutes were driving? How many minutes?
Okay, so I have to say I'm not the person to ask this, because in the last week of July, I drove all the way to Pensacola, Florida, and back.
Would you have filmed
in
yourself
8 days? And I just have to say, every driving scene in these 18 parts gave me a little bit of PTSD flashbacks.
Now, did you have a dash cam, and can you release it as a movie? as an 8-week long movie?
No, but I printed out road trip bingo cards so the kids could entertain themselves without screens.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Yeah, Volkswagen bugs are not as common as you'd think on American interstates.
Nice. All right, well, we got a lot to cover, so let's get into episode 17. It picks up immediately after the FBI has shot Diane's tulpa. And yeah, what'd you guys think of this scene? I really didn't like Gordon's little quip about his dick.
But come on, Matt.
Listen, if you're not interested in David Lynch's penis, then this is not the series for you.
In fact, I heard a rumor that if you look closely, David Lynch's penis is actually in every single shot of all 18 parts. That's the rumor I heard.
Oh.
It's just gross. It's just like, you've gone soft, Gordon. Not where it counts, bucko. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it when people talk themselves up in shows like that, like sexually. Like, oh, I'm the big, like, I'm hit with the pussy, you know, like, it's like, really? Like, I don't buy it now, because you're, like, talking it up so much.
I'm a big hit with the pussy, you know.
I don't know.
If you take a look at my Nielsen numbers, I'm really popular with women over 65 and all pussy.
Yeah, he tells them, we finally learn who Judy is.
Do we?
Zhao Day.
And who is that?
Who knows?
Some sort of entity.
Some sort of entity.
I think
this might be this might be the worst, dumbest thing about this 2-part finale.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I never told you this, but actually there's a big supervillain, and at some point in time that I sure as hell can't figure out, me and Cooper and Major Briggs all talked about it.
Yeah, because when would that have happened? Because Cooper never knew Briggs before he went to Twin Peaks, and there was no time for this whole thing to take place in the series of Twin Peaks, I don't think, between Gordon and Briggs and Cooper.
But don't you see, Matt? We live inside a dream. So,
guys, I'm sorry, you're not being fair. Jaude is ancient Aramaic for plot convenience.
Oh.
I get it.
Yeah.
I just, Bob was a super creepy villain.
It was amazing.
The fact that he is, been relegated to nothingness.
He's a meatball.
Oh.
You don't like the Bob meatball?
I mean... Listen, I love Bubble Bobble as much as the next person. They grew up in the 80s, but ugh.
Oh my god.
Yikes.
I agree.
Yikes.
I long for the days when the mythology was simpler and it was more mysterious and vague.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a side of the mythology from the original 2 seasons that was clearly, bullshit Native American cultural appropriation stuff, right? Mm. But at least it was fictitiously rooted in something that was cool. At the very least, that kind of stuff was cool. It was also in, Dances with Wolves had come out, I think, not too long before, or, there was a whole bunch of stuff surrounding ancient Native American mysticism and all that garbage. The reality is that I didn't see any reason to expand upon it. There was no, hey, had I written this show, blah 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 blah. But it just felt like, to me, the parts that I didn't like in all 18 parts were the parts that felt unnecessarily different or unnecessarily changed. I didn't feel like there was a need to do any of the changes they did. The fact that the giant is now the fireman, the fact that there's this old kind of, theater, and it was just, I don't know, it's kind of neat to see someone imagining that stuff, but calling it Twin Peaks, I think, is really unfortunate because, with the first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks, you had, even though it wasn't very clear, even though it was incomplete, it was clear in a certain way. It was definitely more focused than what we got in this season.
Oh, yeah, and also with the mythology, it had all the Native American stuff, but you could also easily take that as the Native American mythology was a means of interpreting this weird reality. Whereas this series, we're just straight up shown things, and I'm like, no. That's not good. Again, for all the people that talk about, it's good because it doesn't give you all the answers. Too many of the wrong answers. Yeah,
too many answers. This season suffered from a big old case of midichlorians.
Yeah.
There's no need to discuss where the force actually comes from, and we didn't need to know that it was basically genetic bullshit. There's no need for us to actually know what the origin of this mythology is. There's no reason to show us that weird frog bug thing. I mean,
especially if you're not going to pay it off in the end and have a confrontation of some kind.
Well, no.
Entity.
And also,
the missed opportunities are huge.
Yeah. Just to go back to the whole when the hell did this happen with Cooper and Briggs and Cole. If they had left it, I was contacted by Major Briggs after Cooper disappeared. It works.
Yeah.
Because you get that whole scene where Briggs is all creepy at the end that we never got any, follow up. That would work. I just it's so lazy, the problems in the show. Yeah. They could have easily been fixed if anyone just fucking tried.
It reminds me a lot of, a point that you kept making, Brad, on the X-Files podcast, Intro to X, or Intro Talks, which is, why don't people believe in more than a first draft?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of, again, this is my opinion. And I understand that I may not be allowed this opinion, but I'm going to go for it anyway.
As long as you label and state it's an opinion first, otherwise it becomes an objective fact.
It's an objective fact that this is my opinion. And my opinion is just that it really felt, I wouldn't say rushed, because I don't think it really does feel rushed, but laziness, I think, approaches what I interpret from it. But what I especially get out of the way that this season was written was, oh, whatever.
Mm.
And it was as if story was not as important as style. It was as if story was not as important as experimentation.
I don't even think that's style, really, except for episode 8, where he went crazy with style. But everything else I found completely unremarkable filmmaking-wise. Like, there wasn't very many interesting camera angles or, like, locations, really. I don't know. And, you know, I could think of some excuses. Maybe David Lynch is just getting up there in age, and he's not as explicit as he used to be. Maybe he's much more forgiving of things than he used to be, based on, maybe. And I'm convinced that he did the best job he possibly could with the resources he had at his disposal. But one of the big resources that we have at our disposal is our mind, and it's our will, and it's our level of emotional investment in something. And what really clinched it for me as what is this bullshit was the fact that so many of the episodes ended with a music video. And that to me points to, okay, let's fill this. There's so much filler in this. I'm really looking forward to some fan edits. I really am. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to some fan edits, because I think we might get something at the very least that's tighter.
I would do it if I cared anymore.
Yeah. But the issue I have is with these two last parts, especially with part 18. But with these two last parts, it really just felt like, okay, we're getting close to deadline. All right, let's do this. I don't know. Maybe that's not accurate. Maybe this was a whole big plan from the very beginning. But you know what, folks? I'm speaking directly to the Twin Peaks podcast listenership. Every single time you think a TV show has had a long-running plan since the very beginning, I would love to sell you some property in coastal Florida right now. Because that is the sappiest thing you could ever believe about anybody running a TV show.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm rewatching season 7 of Star Trek: The Next Generation, and the stink coming out of my screen when I'm watching these eps is quite something. And that was like, they knew they were over. They knew they were going to wrap it up, and stenchorama.
Caitlin?
This season stunk.
Yeah. Caitlin, do you have any thoughts on the opening scene?
Well, yeah. I just expected it to not be so, like, blasé about what just happened. They're like, oh, well, Diane was a tulpa, she's dead. It just, a lot of this episode is just so, or the whole season, the way they present things that actually seem like it could be important to actual development of the plot, or it could be interesting to the viewership, seems to be presented in such a boring manner. And
yeah. The word you use is perfect. It's blasé. The three of them are sitting down.
Yeah.
And it's just,
They can never be as blasé as Truman later on in the episode.
Reverse shot of three people sitting down and Tammy trying to act with her body.
Right.
Like she's
sitting,
sitting,
what I mean?
sitting on
the way
pin.
that she kept sitting. Yeah, it was like, someone put a pea under my 14th mattress.
Right. Well, the Las Vegas FBI calls, and they found Dougie, but they didn't really find Dougie. And Mullins reads the note from Coop to Cole, and it's she's going to the sheriff's station, and something about it's 253 equals 10, the number of completion, of course, and blah, 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 blah. What the fuck does that mean?
Well, clearly you're not into numerology.
No.
Good for you.
You've done one good thing in your life, not get into numerology.
Right. So they immediately. I do like Gordon Cole's line. I'm going to try to mention as many things that I like as possible. Coop, Dougie is Cooper. What the hell, or whatever he said.
Yeah.
And then they immediately learn. They use those fancy computers. Finally, they learn all about Dougie, like just everything.
It was so fast.
Yeah.
It's like, why couldn't you use these fancy computers to figure out which real Dougie you were looking for?
It's because their DNS server wasn't working properly, and then they went into the router. Sorry, American Friends router, and they changed the DNS server address. And then I'm watching it now, and the subtitles say "whirring beeping noises."
That's how you know it's working.
Yeah.
So then we go to the jail for a sec, and Chad's waiting for everyone to sleep, and they're not asleep yet.
No.
And
it's because they don't sleep until midday, apparently.
Yeah. James and Freddy are pondering Nido, who's making monkey sounds. Which I just hate. I hate her monkey sounds, and I hate that guy mocking the monkey sounds. We've seen it like 4 times.
Does that guy have an abscess? Did he get shot in the cheek? Who is that guy?
We'll never know. We'll
Here's
never
the thing.
know what's wrong with
I want
sick
an
people.
18-part movie about that guy.
I think that guy has got to be related to all the people who had like that lady with the armpit rash and like.
Well, yeah, it's obviously all connected. The sick girl, this guy, the armpit rash, but they just threw it all away and never told us why we were seeing that.
I like to call them Lynch's deplorables.
Guys, don't you see? You see, it all started with the nuclear bomb, so therefore all these people have radiation sickness. It's very deep.
Okay.
Or it's just stupid. It's one or the other. It's one or the other.
It can only be one of those things.
Right.
So then Ben gets a call about Jerry, who ran all the way to Wyoming.
God. Yeah, so to answer the question from last time, nope, not Twin Peaks. Wyoming.
Yeah. And he thinks his binoculars killed somebody, which is funny.
I
thought he had laser binoculars. What?
I think his binoculars did kill somebody.
And then, and he was naked, and Ben's gonna send someone to pick him up, and that's a serious rap for Ben Horn, people.
Yep. Ben Horn, another person doing lots of acting, sitting down.
And his whole story with Beverly and the hum and Beverly's husband, and who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares why we watched that?
I hear there's a whole deleted scene, Matt, where Beverly comes in to work one day and she has this cool new game that you wear like a pair of glasses. And the whole point is to let these cones catch these discs.
Mm-hmm. And it gives you a thrill.
And it gives you like kind of like a little endorphin spike. Yeah. And then Ben gets all distracted by it.
Okay.
I believe.
And then Will Wheaton comes in and saves the day by being precocious.
Gee Willikers. Mr. C goes to Jack Rabbit's palace.
Oh my god.
And he's transported to the Purple Castle place.
Is it called the Purple Castle?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows?
I don't think. They call it the Purple... Actually, my sister had a cat named Purple Castle.
Purple Castle.
Cool.
It was the best cat name ever.
Castle was the last name, obviously. Was Purple the first name or a nickname?
I don't know. It was named by like a 4-year-old.
Okay.
I did notice like there's one shot where you can see like the side room, and it looks like a bunch of teapots in there.
Nice.
Here's the thing, right? All that stuff is really cool. It's really neat. It can be really kind of quirky and maybe interesting, but it's just so... I don't know.
It's somehow too much and not enough.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, if these scenes were half as long, and maybe had a little bit more,
well, Evil Coop is immediately put in a box, and Briggs's floating head is there. What a terrible fate for Major Briggs. He's a floating head in a purple castle. And then the fireman uses his Microsoft Connect, and he swipes the location, and then he sends Evil Coop to the sheriff's station, which I was like, why the fuck are you doing that? I thought you were good. He
starts to go to the Palmer house, but then he swipes right or swipes left and sends him to the sheriff's station.
Yeah.
So theoretically, his plan all along, is the most contrived game of mousetrap ever.
Yeah, I think he just sent him there because that's where all his agents that he had put in play were. They all ended up there, and they were going to end him. So, yeah. Nido's freaking out once he arrives.
Yeah.
Anybody got any notes on anything we've gone over so far that I'm skipping over?
I like the idea that Cooper was trying to get to the Palmer house.
Yeah. The Evil Coop?
Yeah, Mr. C. Evil Coop was, I guess, maybe on his way to the Palmer house, although I don't know how that really works logistically, because, he was... I don't know who picked the destination originally that was on that screen, on that smartboard, excuse me. And the idea of the fireman letting Mr. C out at the sheriff's station kind of makes sense because, as Brad said, all of his operatives are there, and we're going to get ready to put Mr. C out of his misery, I guess. But the idea of Briggs's head just floating there, it's absolutely just terrible
for Briggs.
I don't know another way. I just know another way to describe that. He's not even blinking. They're not even trying to make it look like anything other than a still.
Yeah, they should have made it blink at least.
I mean, as far as really lame animated things go, I guess it's a little bit above the level of South Park.
But just put it in a teapot and have somebody do a Briggs voice. If it's fine for David Bowie, it's fine for Major Briggs.
For Major Briggs. I feel that way about Bob.
Yeah.
I think, what was his first name? What was Silva's first name? Frank Silva had one of the most unique, and as a teenager, when I saw Bob at the foot of that bed, I have never been that scared before. And I wasn't really like a horror movie fan, but that was really, really frightening and scary. Yeah. Frank Silva was one of the most frightening, characters ever. And for me to have Bob, I would have been okay with him being recast. I totally would have been okay with him being recast.
I would have been okay with it, but at the same time, I feel this work. I mean, of course, Bubble Bobble is stupid, but the way they show his face and the way they use the footage, I think I give him a pass for that. I think it works because I could see them recasting it, but at the same time, you're not going to find anybody as creepy as Frank Silva.
Yeah.
But so I think you're kind of stuck on that one.
Kyle MacLachlan was doing a really good job of playing a creepy guy. If they had him be what I thought he was going to be, which is just a Bob-possessed Coop / doppelganger, I thought it would have worked much better. The fact that there was all this other stuff going on and all this...
My original idea, and I kind of wish they had gone this way, was instead of it using Frank Silva, use Ray Wise, and the idea being that whoever he had possessed previously, that's just the form he takes.
Yeah.
That could have worked for me, but whatever.
I did really like the facial morph into Frank Silva on Cooper. That'd be awesome if they could do that while he's moving around, but that would have been crazy expensive probably.
Yeah, and when you're desperate to get discounts on production by doing a couple scenes in France, I don't think you're gonna get the best CGI. Yeah.
Mel, do you have any thoughts?
David Lynch doesn't like good CGI to begin with, so.
Well, that's true. But some of his, but some of his editing effects and some of his traditional stuff are really effective and really good, right? It's when he starts getting into that mixed CGI, standard old-fashioned effects stuff that I think it falls apart. But if you just leave him with stuff you could do on a film cutting table, he's brilliant, and it can be very, very, very effective.
So Andy sees Cooper, and they have a little reunion, I guess, kind of. It's not the real Cooper, but fools Andy, fools Lucy,
I'm still trying to figure out if that's Andy's real gut.
I know. Yeah. His real
Because
gut. Yeah.
it's like, you know...
It has divots like a pillow. Like it,
Yeah.
It's not like realistic.
It's surely not. Surely not.
It's just hilarious. It's wonderful. I love that picnic basket.
Yeah, it was pretty adorable. Andy's being his usual adorable self here.
Yeah.
I was surprised a bit that he was fooled by this evil Cooper, especially since he'd been in contact with the fireman.
Well, the thing is, as soon as he passes him off to Truman, he has like the weird flashback to to what he was informed of earlier, which I just like. This whole like giant fireman, whatever, like all this setup with like, I got all these characters into place, and I gave Andy this vision to help. Like it's just so much. Like I just, it's too much.
It's cosmic destiny.
But the vision that he had didn't even affect anything. Like he
what was that a
moved
vision of?
Lucy around, and we never saw that actually happen. So I don't know if it was just that he kind of involved her somehow so that she would be a part of it.
Yeah.
In the vision, I don't know. Like
this entire season feels like, oh fuck, I didn't get enough shots. Let's try to fix it in editing.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Which I think you guys have mentioned before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this one especially.
And this whole where fucking Chad is like trying to sneak out of the jail, seemingly at night when everyone's asleep.
Yeah, in the middle of the day, right?
Yeah.
In the middle of the day.
Like. This definitely, there is no way this wasn't supposed to be at night.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm talking about these scenes and not understanding them and trying to figure them out, that I'm explaining it away. Like I'm giving it like purpose that isn't even there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Rationalizing it.
Yeah, I just feel like it's just exhausting.
You look exhausted right now.
I'm tired.
It's one of the
I'm just
things.
thinking about this show now.
It's one of the things that I think we fall victim to when we are expecting something better than we're getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I feel
Crushing disappointment.
happened in all of these 18 parts is, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what that's about. When the reality is, Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is most likely the actual explanation, which is, oh, they just didn't get enough coverage.
Yeah.
They just didn't get enough takes. They just needed to fill a good 6 minutes.
I think that's what David Lynch's goal is always being. I think he shoots things and he puts them together in a way that is interesting for him, but he's not creating something that's interesting. He's making emotional quote artistic choices in an editing room that he likes the look of in the moment, disconnected from everything else.
Yeah.
And that's not art.
Which, when you have someone reining you in, that kind of free-for-all approach and patched-together approach can be corralled somewhat. Mm-hmm. But when you have 100% creative control, you end up with midichlorians.
Yeah.
And you end up with all of these things that, I don't know if the word contrivances is the best word for it. I kind of just like the way that word sounds more than anything else. So how David Lynch of me, but I'm just kind of wondering. Like, I'd like for us to spend a little bit of time actually talking about Lucy and how she's clearly mad. She's clearly insane.
Yeah.
And it's not her sweater. Did you guys see that she's punching holes with a single hole puncher?
No.
She's doing 3 holes on a sheet of paper with a single hole puncher.
Maybe she's just very skillful.
Only people who are incredibly mad and quite insane medically do that kind of thing. I think it's fact. Because
I so had to do that one time. I had like a load of scripts and I had no time and I couldn't find my 3-hole punch. Oh, no. And I spent like 2 hours like marking like the spots to punch the holes like with a pencil and then having to punch like 10 sheets at a time of like, and I had like 10 scripts. Oh god, it was a nightmare.
If you weren't insane when you started, I'm pretty sure you were when you were done.
Yeah, that's what did it, guys. That's what did it.
Yeah.
That's too bad. But yeah, that sweater is bonkers and I love it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think they're 8-bit sushi. I think that's what they are.
What's worse, punching 10 scripts with a one-hole punch, or watching this show all over again?
It's almost the same. And just as long.
So they offer him coffee, and he says no, which should have been the dead giveaway.
They should have had They should have the Twin Peaks SWAT team launched with like a button underneath Frank Truman's desk.
Yeah, well, the button under Frank Truman's desk just should have opened up a trapdoor underneath Cooper's chair and sent him straight to hell.
If Hawk had been in the room, like, done.
Even Hawk didn't know what was going on when he got in the room.
That's true. But
Andy goes to get Hawk and doesn't.
Yeah.
He also goes, very important to Lucy, whatever that means. I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah, we did find out that hell exists right under the floor of Truman's office.
Yeah, so there's a Hellmouth in Sunnydale, Cleveland, and Twin Peaks.
Right. So yeah, Andy does says he goes off to get Hawk, but he does not. He goes.
That's why Harry
basement.
got sick. Sorry, I just realized. Just because hell was right under his office.
Proximity to hell.
I think Harry just like cried himself into cancer.
That's all.
We lost all his loves.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chad frees himself and gets a weapon from the weapons locker, and he's about to plug Andy between the eyes, and then Deus Ex Machina boy saves him.
Yep.
So let's just talk about it now. This guy also defeats Bob. And yeah, we see him in the first or second episode, yes, for a split second, but I wouldn't call that his introduction. He's introduced in like episode 15 or 16 or something like that, in the last third. So if you introduce something that's going to save the day in the end in the last third of your film, that classifies as a Deus Ex Machina, doesn't it?
I think so. It's certainly not Chekhov's dishwashing glove. That's for sure. I don't know, guys. I'm also just why does the sheriff's office have to be bigger than most New York City apartments? I'm not talking about the station. I'm talking Frank Truman's office.
Yeah.
Oh, it is huge.
Is massive.
It's because he knew there would eventually be a showdown in his office, and he figured I'd better bust down some walls to prepare for this moment. I don't know what this moment's gonna be, but it's gonna happen.
We're gonna get a lot of actors in here.
Yeah. Once a month they wheel a wrestling ring in there, and they have a local wrestling federation.
That's how they keep the sheriff's station afloat.
Yeah.
Also the donut eating contests.
Oh yes.
We would have enough room for both David Lynch and Jim Belushi's egos. So.
Speaking of, like, you said there was no interesting camera shots, but there was when he was fighting Bob Meatball. I thought it was funny when he was punching the meatball that the camera was moving kind of like when you punch an inflatable cloud.
I did like that. I don't mean there's no interesting shots, but there's only a select few through the whole series.
I just thought maybe not interesting, but I just thought that shot.
No, I did.
Funny.
I really like that. The shot punching the camera and the camera pulling back. I like that. But yeah. So yeah, Lucy gets a call from the real Coop, and she forwards it to Truman. And Coop says a Coop thing for like one of the only times in the whole series. I hope the coffee's on. And then Lucy, they draw their guns, and Lucy shoots evil Coop.
Oh my God!
Shocking!
I didn't see it coming.
No.
Neither did I.
No.
Does that make it good though?
No.
Because if I've learned anything this past week, it's if you didn't see it coming, it's good.
Well then, Truman's hat loved it.
Yeah. That was funny, his hat.
That was the most ridiculous thing. I just watched it right now.
What?
There's no hole in his hat, but his hat moved.
His hat just like recoiled in
fear.
In fear.
Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Truman likes Kevlar cowboy. It's amazing.
Yes.
Lucy understands cell phones now, although I'm not sure.
Yeah. Hey, guys, that's a callback.
I'm not sure how that helped her understand cell phones. And Hawk arrives, which feels like he should have been there sooner.
Yeah.
I mean,
wasted.
like, Hawk was seemed like he was going to be integral to this whole thing at the beginning.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he really wasn't after a while. And whatever happened to that fourth diary page that was missing?
The diary, like, what the messages from the log lady, like, her dying messages were of no import.
Yeah, she was like, look out for the one on the mountain or something like that, under the moon. And like, we didn't go to any mountains.
It's not literal, Matt. It's just a mountain in your mind.
I said I was gonna like slow down on like getting annoyed at people who like the show, but there's one thing I couldn't. That just like I saw this week. I can't remember where I saw it, but somebody's like, I guess this is looking ahead to the next episode. But I just mentioned the diary pages. They're like, there's a fourth missing diary page that they never found. Paige, Laura Palmer's new name is Carrie Page. It all fits together. And I'm like, oh no! I'm like, ah! I was just banging my head against the wall. Oh my!
Can I just?
Oh,
say,
don't do that. You'll give a concussion.
I just want to say this on the record,
Yeah.
because maybe some people feel like I haven't been very active in the Facebook group, and yes, largely that's because I just got tired of it, and had to take a break. And also, I came back and like there's just too much, and Facebook does not let you nest enough comments. But trust me, there are plenty of people that I very much would like to just respond to their one single little comment in the middle of a giant thread and say, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen someone say. But there's just not enough time in my day.
There's not enough time.
And there's so many stupid things. And should I be making fun of people that are passionate and care about the show? Yes, I should.
Well, you know, making fun of people is a time-honored tradition.
Yeah.
You know, we do it all the time. It's okay. It's okay to be made fun of for liking something, just like it's okay to be made fun of for not liking something. You're allowed to like what you like, but I'm also allowed to like say, wait a second, that's not what the word focused means.
Yeah.
You can't just arbitrarily change word meanings, guys. You can't.
Just so you know, just because I haven't called you out doesn't mean I didn't notice that you're insane. I just want that on the record.
Doesn't mean you're not on his watch list.
If you're a member of the Facebook group, just be aware.
I'm judging
Brad thinks you're insane.
Just so you know, I'm judging you. Just so you know, I'm judging you, and everyone else knows that I'm not judging them.
Brad and I have been internet friends and colleagues for a very long time. He judges me all the time. It's okay.
Sure.
It's
Alirio,
what he does,
what are you doing
everyone.
wearing those shorts?
Hey. Yeah.
No excuses for
Every time I put on a pair of shorts, I think of Brad. I think it says something.
Listen, there have been many people that have said, you know what? I'm a grown man, and you've kind of changed the way I feel about putting on shorts. And if I've done that much, I've done something for this world. Grown men don't wear shorts.
I just want to tell Matt, never stop wearing shorts. Don't let Brad control what feels right. You want to wear shorts?
Speaking
wear
of
shorts,
feeling
okay?
right, hey, you guys like your current mattress?
Oh, jeez. Are you going to pay us for this ad?
Do you guys hate going to the grocery store and buying ingredients yourselves?
Oh, I love the grocery store.
Is your husband in a coma? Alright, so yeah, Mr. C gets shot, and just like last time, the woodsmen arrive and they start smearing him with his own blood.
I love these guys. I absolutely adore these guys. It's one of the best things of season 3. I absolutely adore them. I love when they're on. I love how gross they are, how dirty they are. I love how it's genuinely creepy. It's genuinely gross. I absolutely adore the woodsmen. I wish that we would have more woodsmen. The only occurrence of the woodsman I didn't like was, I think, the very first one when he kind of vanished from the cell next to Shaggy.
His head popped off, yeah. They are my favorite part of episode 8. I actually kind of like the last half of episode 8 where he's crushing people's heads.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's definitely a ripoff from Kids in the Hall. Taken to a bit of an extreme.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them were wearing plastic glasses or anything. But yeah, I will say that these woodsmen, I love them. And the blood smearing on Cooper's face, on Mr. C's face, is just so amazing. It's perfect. These 2 reviving scenes of Mr. C were amazing. I loved every second of them.
I do like the, I don't know if you can call it music, but the music that plays is like, wow.
It's great.
Wow. It's just really weird. I like it.
And the thing is, these scenes and the woodsman and their interaction with Mr. C, to me, felt entirely like Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
I had the same feeling. It felt to me, it felt for me like it fit perfectly in what I consider to be Twin Peaks stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird,
okay. Yeah,
but
I was okay with that. The next part is not as great when Bob is a meatball and he has a fight with Freddy Greenglove.
Also, why didn't the woodsman smearing Evil Coop for so long? I was like, Coop, just run over there, put that ring on him real quick. Just pop that ring on. Just go right now.
Maybe he knows they could have crushed his head. So the first thing Bob did when he got out was punch Coop in the face.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
But yeah, and then Bob knows that he's supposed to fight Freddy, and they do. He punches him to hell, and you think it's over, and then he's not dead, and they have to go through it again.
Yeah.
Round 2, fight.
You got time to fill, man.
Yeah, and then he gets the fatality on Bob, and yeah.
Still don't think that's the end of Bob.
Probably not.
No.
Yeah. Four punches, and down goes the villain of so far the entire series.
Someone has some special Black Lodge glue out there where they're just gonna painstakingly glue him back together.
Yeah.
Well, no, we got a new better villain now, guys, that you didn't even know about.
What, Jaude?
Yeah, she's the big super secret villain that we didn't even know was there, but was always there, being even worse. I mean, we already know Bob came from her, so clearly Bob's nothing, and she's the real big bad that we didn't even know.
She's Bob's mom. Oh my gosh.
Bob.
Bob Bomb. So
oh my god, Matt!
What?
Don't die.
I mean, you say meatball, but it's more like a geode.
Yeah.
Really.
I prefer to think of it as bubble.
Yeah.
I like that too. It's true, because yeah. Yeah.
And then the floor catches fire. It's
It goes to hell.
like, this is a really shitty sheriff's station. There are no built-in sprinklers, guys.
And then, Coop puts the ring on Mr. C, and he disappears. Frank sat through that whole thing.
I feel like he just couldn't move.
What was the point of him in this series?
They couldn't get Michael Onkeen.
Yeah, but if
Didn't need him.
Michael Onkeen was there, he would have been in this role, and what was the point of
He would have been standing.
I mean, really, there's no reason it couldn't have been Sheriff Hawk or even Sheriff Andy. Like, why the hell not?
Sheriff Andy would have been amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like a lot of the older characters, like, I don't know if it's like just like we have to have fresh young faces in this show to make it interesting again, because that's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
Fresh young faces that do nothing.
Yeah, well, they also did nothing, I guess, but they had I get more of a storyline maybe than the older characters. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Coop grabs the room key from Truman, and then he notices Nido, and for some reason his face is superimposed over the entire next section.
Oh
Why?
my god.
What? Tell us your thoughts.
Caitlin?
Oh, yeah, it was just, it seemed at the beginning like, oh, there was almost another Cooper there, but by the end I'm like, oh wait, there's no reason at all that there's a Cooper face over him the entire time. Like, it was just pointless. I saw no reason whatsoever. It was very distracting. And, yeah.
Nido is Diane. I think I guessed that last time.
Yeah.
So I got one half of my prediction right.
Oh my god.
And then they like smash face for a long time, like really intensely.
This pissed me off.
I was so livid.
Yeah.
Okay. This is not okay.
No.
This is so not okay. And I'm totally cool with people making out. Making out is awesome. But the relationship that Cooper and Diane had, there was never any indication of this. I don't understand. There's no reason for the. Why are we getting fan fiction? This is fan fiction.
I have a question that I would like answered.
Yes.
How's Annie?
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not even just that. It's that we had a reveal that Bad Cooper raped Tulpa Diane. How does this affect the relationship?
It wasn't Tulpa Diane, it was actual Diane.
Or whatever, actual Diane. I don't even know at this point. I'm confused. But either way, they each have those memories in them.
Yeah.
So how is this okay? Like, how are you okay doing this right now? Like, you were obviously not okay being raped. So what gives? What's going on?
It's also this whole thing because granted I'm going real almost David Lynch fan here and justifying some things, but in my mind coming out of last episode, I was making the connection that clearly I'm only making in my own head, that she had been transformed because of this rape, and maybe there was a comment there that, this rape changed her and made her into Nido. I think that's something you can safely make in your head, though not stated clearly. So the fact that Cooper just changes her back, I don't know, with his winning smile or whatever. I think if anybody wants to go back and listen to the Blue Velvet episode, I came down very hard against fucking Ebert in his crazy review about how the whole film was just violence against women for no reason and disgusting. But this series is really living up to the claims of Roger Ebert.
Yeah.
Because it's constant and nothing is commented on about it. It's just an element. It's just another color in the box of paints that David Lynch uses is just violence against women, and it's kind of crazy. I mean, I need something, and this she's gonna change back into Diane just because Dale Cooper's there with a smile and a kiss. Ugh.
Can't say I disagree.
I want to know what this I really want to know what this intent was. What were you trying to? Did he even have something to say? Really? Probably not.
I hope. I almost hope he does, because the other way is too monstrous.
Yeah. Particularly bringing Audrey into that and then doing nothing with her, but saying, "Oh, she's gone insane" or something. Yeah.
I think we established last time she's on a UFO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has to be. How are we ever going to tie Mark Frost's book with this?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, no. That's like Mark Frost one concession.
Hey, I've never publicly stated my support for book burning, but I don't know, maybe if you guys could never get your hands on a copy, you don't have to read it. Why is Diane kissing Cooper?
Yeah.
It is absurd. I love her fingernails.
Her hair is much better too.
That wig is pretty neat.
Yeah.
Whoever predicted that Cindy was going to be Laura Palmer,
that was me. When
Nido turned into Diane, I was like, oh yeah, let's let Cindy be Laura Palmer, but we didn't get that. Why is Gordon Cole's hearing aid still from the 1940s?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
whatever. I know.
Suspension of disbelief. We're about to jump into it heavy, but
oh my God,
this whole dreamer thing, Cooper's the dreamer. If we're gonna, because I already hear the arguments coming back at us, but don't you realize that he's the dreamer? So of course these things would all be like in his fantasy because it's all his dream. That it's the world he's creating. I'm well, then what the fuck have we been watching and why?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter.
If the last two parts of your 18-part thing is going to be entirely in the imagination and the fantasy of your quote-unquote main character, then what have we been watching? The fact that the fact that Audrey's dance turned into Audrey's trapped somewhere. What have we been watching? Like, there's an argument to be made that this is all bullshit and it's all a dream and it's all imagination and it's all, it's the Bobby Ewing theory of TV dramas,
Right.
Who shot Bobby? Oh, Bobby's just in the shower. You dreamt the whole thing, right? But if this entire 18 part, her slippers are ridiculous. They match her hair. It's ridiculous. Anyway, and the reality that this is somehow, Cooper, Diane, and Gordon Cole walking into the, ether, figuring things out or getting things done or trying to solve the whole point isn't to. The point was not to save Laura. The point was to give her peace.
Which I thought she had at the end of Fire Walk with Me.
Pretty much. So why are we revisiting this? Why aren't we just figuring out how Annie is?
Yeah.
I mean, and as we get more into the Laura Palmer stuff, we got a great resolution for Laura Palmer in Fire Walk with Me. We find out that, she wasn't the victim. She wasn't taken down. She was victorious in the end. It's horrific and what happens to her is terrible, but she's victorious in the end. And
because David Lynch found a way to make that work, and that was really awesome of him, and that points to him being good at something.
So my thinking is, we don't need to rescue Laura Palmer. We need to rescue Coop and Leland. Those are the people that need to be saved.
Yeah. And Sarah Palmer, apparently.
Yeah.
Because she's all crazy now.
No, she's Judy.
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Has she always been Judy?
It will never know.
What?
Did you have something you were going to say?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Just to say that when you say it was all a dream, it's just lazy.
Yeah.
Oh, but guys,
unless you plan it out early and you have stuff that at the beginning we're like, oh yeah, and I'm not talking about some stupid Monica Bellucci at a Paris bistro scene. And I don't mean to say that she's stupid. I think Monica Bellucci is quite a wonderful human. But it's you can't just.
But guys, isn't the great
Alirio's
part?
Weeping.
Isn't the great part that we can be talking about these things and coming up with theories for years to come? No, it's not.
Well, hold on. I'm a big fan of trying to fill in gaps and all of these kind of fun things, but what my theory presupposes is that we would have something that would be like the original first two seasons of Twin Peaks. There was tons of stuff for us to theorize about and talk about and disagree about, but there was still continuity, there was still story, and it's not like I'm not into being an anti-disestablishmentarian or anything, but the whole idea of this being, it's really confused and difficult to understand and there's no logical sense to it because that's the point. No, you can make something that's really anti-establishment and anti-narrative and be really kind of awesome because that's stuff that can be done well and successfully.
Yeah.
This is not that. I'm sorry, guys. For everyone who thinks that this season of Twin Peaks is the coolest anti-traditional TV, you're actually half as smart as you think you are. Because the reality is that there's stuff out there that really is messed up and crooked and will fuck your mind and will leave you guessing that is executed so much better than this.
I think if this was supposed to be some sort of grand experiment or like piece of art that was supposed to deconstruct TV and like be so avant-garde, I think it failed because I don't hear anybody talking about this show outside of the fans who are already fans of it. It was not covered widely.
I've seen a little bit of coverage.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But they're the same people that had their heads way up their asses about what was that Damon Lindelof show, The Leftovers?
Yeah.
I mean, come on,
guys.
guys.
It's not this series did not garner new Twin Peaks fans. I would bet.
It's interesting. I think that may have been more a lack of exposure based on where it aired, right?
Maybe. But I would argue all it did was lose Twin Peaks fans.
I mean, I will say I have seen some people, and I know just because I've gotten comments on Instagram posts while we've been recording, that I know people that are just like starting Twin Peaks. I got a friend that's just watching the first season right now, apparently, and probably because of the hype, because of the series, the new series and all. But I don't think this new series is going to help anybody out.
Yeah. If Philip Jeffries is in that teapot, his skin must be just so soft.
Skin is slippery, like a
and
newt.
like supple.
He's like a Bowie newt.
What did he had some sort of line about how it is in there.
Yeah, he said it was slippery, I think.
He said it was slippery.
He did say it was slippery.
I'm trying to get some papers, but it's really slippery in here.
And again, I love that.
I know,
That's
it's
pretty neat.
He's not. So we find out he's not the teapot. He just lives inside it.
I told you, he's Darth Vader.
Yeah. Yeah.
February 23rd, 1989 is something I never ever want to hear ever again.
No.
I can't believe I can't believe they did time travel.
Yeah. There's some sort of line about Gordon Cole will remember the unofficial version, and I don't know. This is where you will find Judy, and then the owl cave symbol turns into the infinity symbol. So deep.
And then it turns into an 8.
Yeah. All you gotta do to make something deep is just throw the infinity symbol in there.
Just throw some numbers up on the screen on something in like sans serif font, and people will go apeshit over it.
Didn't catch me. The next part was kind of interesting. They go into Fire Walk with Me clips, and and just made me want to watch Fire Walk with Me. But
I had the same reaction, and then I realized what they were doing, and
I did kind of like how they incorporated Cooper into the scene and had her react by screaming at him. Like before, it was always she just screamed at nothing, but now she's screaming at Cooper. But that doesn't really make sense because that means he was always there and this always happened.
We're doing a real heavy Back to the Future 2, which I couldn't stop laughing as soon as I realized we were doing a Back to the Future 2, and that he was going to be hiding in the back of Biff's car or something.
Yeah. Twin Peaks, a Robert Zemeckis film.
Yeah. So yeah, she goes into the woods and she's intercepted by Cooper. And what'd you guys think of this? I don't know why he wasn't speaking. A spooky ghost.
I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is, to me, in my opinion, this is the epitome of not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
This is the epitome of, well, I don't know. Why don't we just go back?
To me, it seems like such a bullshit fucking way to end this series, because here's what's going on. Like, okay, we had that stupid setup of actually the big villain is Judy, and that's who we're really going after. When we set up this plan a long time ago that I never told you about. Okay, then let's just go after Judy. We're gonna take a little pit stop to like save Laura Palmer. Like, why don't we save Teresa Banks?
Yeah, I never like this whole talk about. I posted this on the Facebook group. This whole talk of Laura's the one, and they send Laura's like spirit down to the world from the Purple Castle place, and like she seemed like this epic figure in history or something. And I don't think she amounted to much. I don't think she. Like, what was so special about Laura Palmer?
Yeah, I mean, like, it just ignores so much.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool to see those clips, but I can watch them by popping in my VHS of Fire Walk with Me. That's right.
Wow.
I have it on VHS. You haven't lived
I just-
until you've seen it in pan and scan, my
I
friend.
just can't believe you still have a VCR, Alirio.
I have one of those. I have one of those like 15-inch TVs with a built-in VCR,
Oh,
and it's
man,
really
that's
great when we have sometimes they're like rummage sales and stuff, and people have these old like Disney VHS tapes
Nice.
or whatever, and yeah, so it's kind of neat to have that just ready. Also, I went and bought that crazy Lost Season 5 binder box set, and it comes with a VHS from the Dharma Initiative.
wow.
And so I got to
Nice.
actually pop that in and watch it.
Nice.
So yeah, the Fire Walk with Me VHS box. Yeah, I love the VHS boxes. They're bigger. They have some cooler cover art. And I just love having a sleeve and the tape just pops right out. I don't know. Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh, James.
he saves her from. Well, she never shows up at Leo and Jacques and Ronette's meeting place. I was like, oh, Leo.
Don't you mean
Yay.
Jean-Michel Renaud?
Yeah. I don't know if those were new shots or not.
They looked like some of them were shots that they hadn't used. Or
Of them
something.
waiting.
Yeah. But some
Well, I
of them
doubt
were...
Leo Johnson was there just for like Fire Walk with Me retakes.
No.
Nope. And
What if he was there? What if he had to get in a really great shape to get back into Leo Johnson?
That would be amazing.
And then we get to see the opening of the original series, and she disappears from the beach, and Pete goes fishing. And I was like, yay, we get to see Pete and Catherine, and I
Even
missed
though
the
it's
original
like,
show.
it's just
Why
the
don't I go
original
watch
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we saw Josie,
Oh.
I was like, oh my god, is Josie gonna be? Is she on for like some new lines? Are we gonna get new lines?
I
No.
was fully expecting that too.
I just forgot about how like creepy she was in that opening scene.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, so ominous.
Yeah.
Such a good show.
Yeah, such a
damn
better
it.
show.
Oh, so good.
So yeah, they erased the original series, and then so yeah, those first two seasons amount to nothing. And then they're going through the woods, and Cooper's being creepy and silent and holding her by the hand, and I hope he knows where he's going.
He
walking
does
through the
not.
woods. And then we hear the crickety noise or frog bug noise or whatever, and Jude takes Laura away, I guess. And then we stare into the woods for a long time.
Well, we do get the Sarah Palmer having a freak out, and then
Oh yeah.
bashing the Laura photo before.
Okay, what was that from?
Was that Jude realizing what Cooper's trying to do?
I think
No,
so.
but sorry, but please forgive my ignorance. Was that new footage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, wait, was this in Twin Peaks or Fire Walk with Me, and I just can't remember it?
Nope.
It was confusing though because they kept using the old footage, and then
Yeah.
the house is so like the set for the house is so well done that it looks
Yeah.
like the old one. you know?
Yeah.
Well, it is. They literally use the same living room.
I know, but it's just like everything looks. It's got
Yeah,
the
it
same
hasn't
feel
hasn't
to it.
changed much.
Yeah.
So is that it? I think that's it. That's the end of.
No, it's not.
That's the end of Twin Peaks, guys. There's nothing else after that.
So
Let's rate the final episode of Twin Peaks.
yeah,
Alirio, would you like to go first?
yeah. Mr. C is dead. Coop is back
Oh
in
wait,
Twin
do
Peaks.
we not want to talk about the amazing music over for 5 seconds over the credits?
Oh, right.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
yeah, Julie
and
Cruz
the
gets
drama
snubbed.
accompanying that.
Oh yeah, let's discuss that.
Ooh.
Yeah, can you explain the drama around it a little bit? I got snippets of it, but I'd like to hear.
Julie Cruz wasn't happy that she got to sing like a third of her song. It lasted like 2 minutes when other acts have had like 7-8 minutes, like
doesn't
and a
seem
full
fair.
song, you know.
It doesn't seem fair when you put it in that perspective.
And she's like, she's a big part of the original series.
Yeah.
And she just feels snubbed.
Yeah, okay.
I get it in a way, but in another way, like she still had a full 2 minutes.
She's also
Of the
been
show,
known to
but-
have an ego before, but I kind of agree with her. But she probably wouldn't.
Whoa.
What?
Are you saying a musical artist had an ego? How dare you?
I mean, I think they should go back and cut everyone's musical acts to this length.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, Alirio, what do you rate this one?
All right. I really liked Coop being back in Twin Peaks. Mr. C being shot by Lucy was fantastic. I thought that Freddy punching Chad with the door of the cell was great. I think Chad having built a compartment for cell keys into his shoe is a fact that we neglected to discuss at length. And I just want to say that's how villainous Chad is.
Chad is an idiot. That's so dumb. He wouldn't do that. Oh.
And Naito turning into Diane and Diane and Coop kissing started ruining this for me. Coop going back in time really left a bad taste in my mouth. Hearing and seeing Julie Cruz at the end was kind of a neat thing. I'm giving this 5 out of 10 smashy pictures.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really like this episode very much. I don't like how it didn't give us closure on anything. Like, it just...
But you can't judge it until you've seen...
This was the end, Alirio. There's no more episodes after this one. Yeah, there were so many characters introduced. Huh?
Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you. Were you truly expecting closure with this show?
Maybe not with the main story, but at least, like, make it feel like watching all those new characters wasn't a complete waste of time. Like, give us some sort of, like the character of Red, Shelley's new boyfriend. Like, I liked him. I wanted to see more of him. What was he for? What was that storyline for? Like, if it's just to show that Shelley hasn't changed, like, at least let her realize that, maybe. I don't know. You just
let her grow as a character.
Have an ending to that story. Like, just as it
Matt,
is.
I would request that you refer to Shelley by her full name, Shelley the waitress.
Okay, Shelley the waitress. Yeah,
okay.
And I guess I can't complain about any of this anyways, because none of it ever fucking happened.
What?
Because it's erased at the end. So
what?
I give this 5.5 futile efforts.
Oh.
Anybody else want to go? Mel, you're going.
Oh, sure. I just don't care anymore. And even at this point, I was like, I've decided that this show doesn't exist for me.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, because I don't, as awesome as the original Twin Peaks is, I don't want to let this show ruin that for me.
Mm.
And I want to tell that to Claire too, because I know she was talking about that. She was saying, like, this whole, like, Cooper, like, bad Cooper raping Audrey and stuff, like, it's ruining it for me. Claire, forget about this fucking show. It's worthless. It's not worth your time. I want you to keep enjoying the old Twin Peaks for what it was.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but without this show, we wouldn't know that David Lynch's penis is really awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
Frankly.
That's true. I'm going to increase my rating by a point because of that. No, not really. Yeah, I don't know. There was some good parts of it. You guys have, we've covered it. So I get a 3 out of 10 cryptic messages from slippery teapots. I don't know.
All right, Caitlin.
Yeah, it's harder to rate the end up. Like, I also think of this as the end episode. I think that if it ended here, the next episode never happened, then I would probably rate this episode higher, I think, because I did not like what they did with the last part of the episode and took into the 18th episode. The 18th episode is absolutely irrelevant, did not need to happen, didn't even present a better mystery. It just went off on some tangent in some parallel dimension in my mind, and so, yeah. Anyways, let's not even talk about this episode. I'm going, guys.
Oh my god!
But this episode, if it had ended here, I think that's a decent ending to the show, despite the fact that I think everything was kind of anticlimactic. They did not play up the good moments like they should have. But yeah, bonus points for the woodsmen. Those super creepy, as Alirio was saying. They're so chilling every time they come on the screen. And it was kind of cool to see the Bob showdown near the end, despite the fact, that it was one of the new characters instead of someone who should have been around for a long time fighting him. Yeah.
It's me, Destiny.
Yeah. And I love the fact that Lucy shot Evil Coop and that she finally figured out how cell phones work and somehow figured out that Coop had a doppelganger, and that did not phase her at all, but despite the fact that cell phones misfire. I think, generally it was an okay episode. Nothing more spectacular than a lot of the other episodes at the end of this season. So I'm going to give it 6.5 out of 10 shots to the head.
So generous. And I agree with you, Caitlin. We shouldn't review the next one. I mean, what episode 18? Where? What? When? What? What are you talking about?
Brad, what do you think?
All right. This episode, there's so many things to say. I will say this for it. As I was watching, I was like, oh wow, this is moving along at a good clip. It's finally has the pace of an episode of television in 2017 that doesn't make you want to kill yourself. So I think that, I mean, honestly, if I hadn't seen the next one and I hadn't watched the previous ones, I don't know. It's, it's just so, it's such a dumb payoff. It's the whole idea that the fireman's like setting up all these things so these random occurrences and these random characters all come together because he lives outside of time, so he can set up this mousetrap. It's a stupid mousetrap. Like, it's a terrible way to kill off what has been one of the creepiest villains ever created. Mm-hmm. Bob is so creepy, yet they just punch him 4 times, and he goes into fire and breaks apart. It's real dumb. Like, I don't give a fuck about this dude with the gardening glove, like Ian Fist for Chris. I don't care about him. I care about so little in this series. I care about him for a funny gag. You want to use him for your finale? You have him punch a wall so Hawk can get in there and take care of shit.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be awesome.
Or even keep it the same. Have him punch a wall that Lucy can go through and then shoot Coop. Fine. But you know what? He doesn't get to punch out Bob.
Yeah.
No. And just all of this setup, it's 1,000 Deus Ex Machinas. Alirio, you're right. We didn't talk about Chad with the fucking shoe key. No fucking chance. No. Chad's an idiot. That's his whole thing. He's like a gross, awful, douchebag idiot. Like, he hangs out with Richard Horn, alright? By choice. So, no, he doesn't think ahead to put a secret key in a shoe.
He eats like 3 lunches at once in the conference room.
Oh.
For those hungry mans.
Gross. Everything about this is fan fiction. This whole episode was fan fiction. The Coop and Diane thing was horrific and just part of a bigger problem.
Just wait.
David Lynch is just, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. This was not good at all. Also, Jim Belushi's still alive. I don't like that. You
mean his character, right?
Sure, that too. Like, this is garbage. This is garbage, but I don't know if it was a worse garbage than the game before it. I think it's just worse in knowing that this is the resolution to the garbage fire we've been watching for the previous 16 hours. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. 5.5, just because some shit actually happened.
I will agree, the pacing was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Immediately on finishing the episode, I was like, oh, wow, okay, a lot of things happened. Let's see what happens in the finale.
Yeah. Coop finally actually gets to do things of his own volition. Like, he spent, seasons 1 and 2 trying to solve the mystery. Season 3, he's just doing everything that he's being told to do and doesn't think of a thing himself.
Yeah.
Still, though, he didn't get to confront Bob. He just got to watch as somebody else punched Bob. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was such fucking bullshit. To not allow Cooper to defeat Bob is unconscionable.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What's the whole point? What's the whole point if Cooper can't kill Bob? What the fuck?
He seemed to possess some sort of, like supernatural knowledge now that he's lived in the Red Room, so he could easily write it so that he knows how to defeat Bob. So,
it's just you're an asshole, David Lynch. You're a petty, little-minded, small-minded, misogynist asshole. You took away what could have been the one saving grace where it would have Cooper versus Bob. And because your budget can't cover Cooper versus Mr. C with your fucking no-name, probably a friend of his cousin's son, special effects company, yeah, I'm calling out the effects. They're bullshit.
It's so bad it made me defend Roger Ebert.
Well, I got good news for you, Illyrio. It never happened.
Hey,
Freddy never happened.
It was all a dream.
This
show was all a dream.
We are the dreamers.
Yeah.
So it's time to get out of the United States.
Guys, we're so deep. We're so deep.
So that was the end of Twin Peaks, and then for some reason some other show came on, and we watched that.
It
opened with like an homage to Twin Peaks, where like somebody looks like Mr. C is on fire.
That's awesome.
In the Red Room, so I guess that's his punishment or something, maybe.
He is burning an eternal damnation. That's a nice chair.
At least he gets a comfy chair while he's on fire.
Does he deserve that though?
Yeah, he does not.
Yeah,
deserve
but guys,
a comfy chair.
If we can discuss seriously, Black Lodge, doppelgangers, they're just naturally evil, right? If they're the doppelganger of someone like Cooper, right? Mr. C has to be evil. And there's the whole possession by Bob thing, but if it was a doppelganger, it isn't really Cooper possessed by Bob, which is odd. Like, that's the thing also that bothered me. It's like, and let's go back to season 2.
Yes, please.
Cooper's trapped in the Black Lodge. His doppelganger gets out. But is a doppelganger just a copy of you possessed by Bob? Or is it your doppelganger, and all doppelgangers possessed by Bob?
What's a tulpa?
Oh, by the way, if you want to know what a tulpa is, you can listen to, I think it was an episode of Reply All podcast, where they actually talk to people who have tulpas. Tulpa is a word used to describe an imaginary friend. It's not technically schizophrenia or multiple personality disorder, but it sometimes gets mistaken for that. It's people who have different people that they interact with and discuss, and sometimes have them kind of possess their bodies weirdly. It's an interesting thing. So it's not the first time I've heard that word. That word is not exclusive to whatever these stupid things are.
It's also a Garbage X-Files episode as well.
Oh, is it?
Are you describing like an overactive imagination? Is that...
Oh, it's beyond that. It's really quite impressive. People have a whole litany of different characters that they interact with on a daily basis and have personalities. Yeah, it's really quite involved. Yeah, this is so weird.
So, I don't really want to go through scene by scene of this episode. I just want to skip it mostly, but let's just talk about whatever you want to talk about in episode 18.
The driving?
There's so much fucking driving.
I timed it out.
No.
Just before we get there, we do get a new Dougie. Just want to get that out of the way. They resolved something.
Yes, that was my favorite part of this episode.
Yeah.
The Jones family getting a happy ending. And Dougie looking so happy when he's like, home, yay. Like, that was great. That was sweet. I liked it.
That was good. All right, moving on.
Yeah. So, okay, the driving. I started the clock at 39 minutes 12 seconds. That's they're already in the car. That's she says the line Odessa. There's a couple of things that I marked. 2 minutes later, she says a line. Then about a minute and a half later, there's another line. 5 minutes later, there's another line. They open the car door at 48:15. So 9 minutes 3 seconds of driving, pretty much, with a couple of lines sporadically through it.
You're not counting the driving with Diane either.
No, I'm not. That was 2 minutes from the Sparks when they start to drive into the whatever the fuck. That was 14:30 to 16:30 when they actually park the car. So there's 2 minutes of that as well. So there's well over 11 minutes that I timed that is just driving.
So the first few minutes of this episode are just replays of the first episode, right?
Yeah. We get to see.
Are they actually just recycled footage of part 1?
Most of it seems like it. There's like a little bit of new stuff where the arm says, like, is it the story of the little girl who lived down the lane, which is what Audrey said, but who the fuck knows what that means?
Yeah.
But everything else I'm pretty sure is the exact same stuff we've seen.
Yeah.
And we get to see Leland again, but it's the same scene as before. So they had Ray Wise come back for literally one line.
Yep.
In one scene.
What a waste.
Yeah.
He's so good in everything he does.
He is so good.
Yeah.
He was so good.
I know.
Snares he dotes and the lambs he died.
So they go like to the desert and like at mile 430. I don't know from what. I don't know. They're exactly at mile 430. Mel, you said it'd be funny, like, or you said, how are they not even a millimeter off? Like, that's
yeah,
impossible.
they had to be because he slowed down. He's like, yeah, we're right here, and he was still slowing down, like still crawling ahead. I was like, you're past 430
But
now.
what's
like,
it mean? Like, what's the significance of 430? Just because the giant
Who
said
cares?
it?
Yeah.
Fireman.
And they're talking about something about changing things, and it's implied they're changing dimensions or something. But even after they and it might be different, but even after they get over there, they still call each other Diane and Cooper for at least that first day. And
also they're driving what seems to be like an old-timey hearse or something.
Yeah. And then they go to a motel and they have sex and
that was not sex.
Yeah, okay. He just laid there like a dead fuck.
And she smushed his face.
That was the single most repulsive scene I have ever witnessed in my life. That was gross.
Yeah, and he's like, you come over here to me, and then they fuck.
That was so gross. That she didn't want to see his face. There's all kinds of... I mean, talk about absolutely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Talk about gratuitous. Talk about why do you hate us this much? Because I gotta say, there's nothing I think that brings to the story. And I know that's saying not very much in this particular season, because there's a whole lot of stuff that didn't bring anything to the story. But having Diane have sex with Cooper was a big fuck you to the fans.
Yeah.
I think, because this was, for the longest time, and I think Clara said it really well, the purity of this relationship. You know, Cooper was never asexual, but he was always awesome and never creepy and never...
Yeah.
You know, he fell in love with Annie, and it was pure. Cooper is pure.
This isn't Cooper. Like, he does not act like Cooper in this episode.
No.
Like,
It is so weird.
We had 18 hours, and he acted like Cooper in maybe 1 hour of it, maybe?
Barely.
Not
And
even.
I get it, David Lynch. You got a big bad boner for Laura Dern. I get it. And so let's make her the center of this. But fuck you, man. Absolutely unnecessary. Totally grotesque. I was so grossed out by this. I cannot abide by this ever. I'm sorry. There was nothing in this scene that made not sense, but I could not even begin to imagine even pen to paper of this, other than, hey, this will be really good fan fiction if I did it myself. It's not fan fiction anymore. Let's play with that. I'd rather watch Spock and Kirk make out and have gorgeous, beautiful anal sex with each other than this. This was awful. This was the worst. I I wanted to scratch my eyes out. It was so bad.
But it's
But
okay.
hey,
Go ahead.
but what if right before this scene you see a second Diane outside, so it makes it seem like something's happening?
Something.
Oh man.
Don't worry, Alirio. This isn't Coop and Diane. It's Richard and Linda.
Richard and Linda.
Aww. Not you guys.
You know what I thought was going to happen, and like I don't know if it's better or worse or who gives a fuck. But I thought that because we had like the old timey car, and like we're in this weird motel, I thought she was gonna get pregnant, and Linda was like gonna be their daughter that like grows up in whatever time period they're in, and then she does whatever the fuck to end the show.
That would have been hilarious if they like had like kind of like a Twilight baby that like grows up immediately.
I think you mean they'll name him Connor.
I mean, if they're in the 50s, we just have the kid, and then we cut to present day or whatever.
Yeah, boom.
Well,
hey.
Maybe they're in the 50s. I don't know, but he exits from a different motel than he entered.
No kidding.
He appears to be in modern day.
Yeah.
Because there's at least the 90s, because there's like a CRT television that's in like the 90s era, and he can open his car with a remote.
It's a different car. Everything's different, and who knows or cares why.
Yeah.
What I wanted in the scene where they were driving up to the electrical towers, I don't know, I'm backtracking a bit. So I'm like the anti-Claire. I'm backtracking. I'm skipping behind. What I expected was that some woodsman would come out and ask them for a light. You know, like make them be that couple in the car. That would have been great.
Richard stops at Judy's diner just 'cause.
Wait.
What?
So how come he still doesn't think he's Richard yet?
No, he still calls himself Dale Cooper.
Yeah, like it's just weird that he
doesn't act like Dale Cooper.
It's just weird that he would remember Diane, but she doesn't remember him anymore. Yeah. She doesn't recognize him. It's just weird.
Also, just a question about like what the fuck happened. So Cooper like leaves like the red room, and he's seemingly like at Glastonbury Grover, whatever the fuck. And he meets Diane, or is he meeting Diane in the Black Lodge? Like, where did Diane come from?
I don't know. How
did he meet her? Because my question is, did he ever actually leave? Or, you know, I mean, again, I don't really care about these answers. People feel free to write your dissertations. But I don't particularly care. I just would want to know, like, where is this the Diane that we've met already? Or is this a Diane in the Black Lodge? Or is this even Diane? Or who cares, really?
Pretty sure he stepped out of the Black Lodge and there she was waiting, because I think when he and she and Cole walked up to that first door at the Old Northern, that she was just standing outside the door waiting, and then that turned into Glastonbury Grove or something. But then Gordon Cole was gone because he got retconned out of it. It's so clear and focused. Also, that's definitely modern day, because that car, it looks like a Lincoln. Like after he gets out of the different motel, it looks like a Lincoln, and it has those little buttons under the handle.
Oh
yeah. So he's looking for a waitress. I don't know how he knows to look for a waitress, but there's some yokels there, and he gets in a tussle with them.
So, hands up, who thought Annie was going to be there?
No.
I was hoping.
No.
But you know what we got instead? Deep fried guns.
That seems very irresponsible.
What's crazy about this, I had just watched the most recent episode of Preacher, where, spoiler alert, they're trying to destroy some guns, and they're trying to melt them down, but they're magic guns. So, but the guy doesn't want to do it because he's like, these will explode. No, I'm not gonna melt a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, at the very least, take the bullets out.
Yeah, he seems very irresponsible, just dumping bullets in hot oil, and he's waving a gun everywhere, pointing it at people.
Yeah, poor old couple. You can't just shoot people, Cooper.
No, I mean,
he does have a badge.
He waves it in front of the waitress and everything.
Someone at least once a week.
Yeah.
Seriously.
He gets the address, he goes to the house, it's Laura Palmer, Carrie Page. 4th page of the diary's missing.
Her name is Carrie Page because she's carrying a page,
Oh,
see?
no. She is the last page.
My mind is blown.
Did you guys notice the pale horse on the mantle? That was neat. And then, what the fuck? She killed a guy.
There was an assault rifle on the ground.
That
You know
was
what?
crazy.
But like, why that reference and like nothing else? Like you're giving up on so much else of this show, but you're putting
Here's what I heard. There was nothing on the mantle, and then David Lynch saw a child playing with a little white horse, and then he pushed the child into traffic, and then he picked up the little toy and put it on the mantle.
It was inspired. This show was inspired by real life.
Yeah.
In more ways.
Absolutely.
Twin Peaks is inspired by the crimes of David Lynch.
By the way, this waitress has the neatest little cardigan. It's super cute.
I didn't notice
It's nice.
because I didn't care.
So he grabs Carrie Page and he's like, hey, you're Laura Palmer and your parents are Leland and Sarah. And she's like, what? That's weird. What's
I kept
going
expecting her to say, "Why did you say that name?"
And
Also,
she agrees to go.
Yeah. Also, you notice that there's like a toilet chair with a bucket and some toilet paper just there in the living room, and
Oh, I didn't
Is
notice
that what that was?
yeah.
Ew.
Gross.
I noticed
just-
the toilet paper, but I didn't realize that's what the bucket was for.
Oh yeah, because it's on top of like a toilet chair that like if you're elderly or whatnot you have. I grew up surrounded by elderly people. I've seen some things, but just like in the living room, like that's why that guy got shot. He was taking a shit in the living room.
He wasn't a hostage at all.
He just had bad manners.
So what's that black pot? Is that where the poop goes,
He
or
put
they
the
like?
pot under the chair.
Oh.
Oh my god, Alirio.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, it just looks like a big old lobster pot to me.
Well,
It wasn't a rock. It was a rock lobster.
Oh. Okay, I can see it now.
Yeah.
That's what you would. That's how you adapt a normal toilet to like someone who needs support and handles. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did she kill an invalid?
Probably.
Alright.
But can I say it was really great to see Shirley.
Yeah.
It was really
Yeah.
great
What
to
do we
see her
think of her-
act.
Is it a Texan accent? Like, what is this Texan?
I don't know. I don't care. I'm really happy Shirley was on, at least for a little bit.
I thought she did a good job with what little she had.
And she looks
Yeah.
so old, but so gorgeous. I don't know how to describe that. I hope I don't sound horribly sexist. But
So old.
I loved her hair. I love how.
What did you think when they used modern Cheryl Lee to portray teenage Laura Palmer?
I couldn't tell because we were watching it on a shitty screen.
Yeah.
But
By the way,
dark.
I purposefully watched almost every single episode of this season, part of this season, on my phone.
Nice.
oh my god.
Just to stick it to Lynch, huh?
Stick it to the man.
But then you're admitting to this, and people are gonna latch on to that. They're gonna say this is why I couldn't appreciate the show for what it was.
I actually think I do appreciate the show for what it was. It just happens to be shit. And I think David Lynch's unconscious acknowledges that too, because otherwise, why would you have a shit chair in one of your scenes?
Yeah.
Right? Guys, let's analyze this. I bet you that shit chair is there to represent to all of David Lynch's fans just how shitty he thinks this season was. And that's why they say you can't judge it until you've seen all 18 parts. I saw the 18th part, and I can judge it as shit because David Lynch told me it's shit because there's a shit chair.
Well, if you guys think he did this show as a fuck you to the fans, jokes on him. They love it.
Right?
So, yeah.
I don't know if I could have made it through these last few eps if I hadn't gone over to Tammy and Dan's and watched the last 3 parts while petting cute dogs.
Oh.
Those are
What
some
did they
cute
think of it?
dogs.
They mostly slept. It was adorable.
Are you talking about Tammy and Dan?
No, I'm talking about the dogs. I don't know what Tammy and Dan were doing. I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, they weren't watching. Okay.
No, they were watching. They were watching. I was just paying attention to the dogs.
You have dog blinders on.
Always.
Oh,
It's my life.
Yeah. By the way, Rusty the Golden Doodle was the nicest dog. It made camping with no running water and no electricity totally bearable.
Aww.
Yeah.
So they go to Twin Peaks, and Carrie Page doesn't recognize anything. Sorry.
Nope.
And
She doesn't like anything.
She doesn't like anything. She does. She's like us.
This pie's okay.
Meh. And then, they knock on the door, expect Sarah Palmer, and they get the real life owner of this house.
Okay.
That's the actual owner of that house.
And her husband talking in the background, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. For reals?
Yeah, for real,
yeah.
No.
Yes, yeah.
David Lynch, you're such a dork. Hey, listen. Can we use your house for filming? I'll make sure that you're in the very last, most important scene.
Oh, by the way, those people are now selling their house. Not a joke.
Because they're tired of David Lynch fans harassing them.
Yeah, likely.
I've heard they've actually been pretty nice. They let people tour the house and stuff, and people during the Twin Peaks Fest, they had a small group of people over to watch an episode in the home in the Palmer house. So that would be cool. So they're
cool.
pretty good people, but yeah, they're selling the house. I don't know why.
I would like.
because
They are not actors.
It's not. It doesn't feel like your house though. If people keep peeking in your window all the time,
Wearing all denim.
Bob style.
With really long, ratty gray hair. Oh, man.
So she.
I know what my Halloween costume's gonna be. I'm just gonna travel to Seattle just for that.
Yeah. So they bought the house from Chalfons. They are Tremons. I don't understand what this means. If anything, I think it's just a throwaway reference just to show that, hey, this is still Twin Peaks.
By the way,
I feel
guys, the realism of Cooper having to stop and get gas is just
right.
super poignant and amazing.
I think the reason that they did that was to explain why they used two different, because people thought it was a mistake that they changed it from Trebon to Chalfont, but I feel like they were just trying to combine that mistake into a thing.
I don't think it was a mistake.
I
in the
don't
original
know.
one.
I don't know.
It's just to show that this Black Lodge lady and her grandson go by different names sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just tying them in for some reason.
Yeah.
And
Dale Cooper's suit must just reek. All that
Yeah.
driving.
Yeah. Why didn't they just fly?
Because you need to fill the episode with some bullshit.
Yeah, what would you have done for 9 minutes? Ordered peanuts? Come on.
You mounted
Ridiculous.
a GoPro in the nose of the airplane. Coop says, "What year is it?" And I'm like, "It's probably either the 90s or modern day. Either way, Sarah Palmer should be there, but she's not because you changed history." And then Laura Palmer hears Sarah Palmer and screams, and the lights in the house go out. The end of the whole series. Goodbye.
I did like how the lights went out on the house. I thought that was cool.
Laura screams. She's still a good screamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent screen.
So yeah, I liked the beginning and the end of this episode.
That's about it. Yeah. So,
What was the
Alirio.
beginning?
The beginning was it got Dougie.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I like the
went
beginning then.
Yeah.
Illyria, what do you give this one?
I'm gonna give this a 1 out of 10. Go fuck yourself.
Okay.
This was shit. Shit. Shitty shit. Shit.
Caitlin, you were pretty quiet. Do you have many thoughts on this episode?
Yeah, I said I would leave before we rated it, so, anyways.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry, we spoiled your plan.
I'm gonna give a point for the scream at the end, and I don't think I have any other points.
Dougie?
Oh my god.
Do you like that?
Oh, that's another point. 2 points!
2 points.
2 points!
That's so generous.
Yeah. It doesn't even get a rating system. It's just 2 dangling points, this
Alright.
dangling episode.
Brad, what about you?
I I just looked, and the Dougie scene ends at 3 minutes 10 seconds. Guys, I'm getting all the numbers this out. That includes opening credits, and so the Dougie scene ends 3 minutes 10 seconds. After that, it's complete fucking garbage. I will say I do like the creepy moment when we see a second Diane. It's meaningless and is just a preface to some real fucking garbage, but that was a creepy moment. I'll give it that. It's in a vacuum, but this is terrible. This is a fucking burning dumpster fire of an episode.
It's like America?
It is shocking. It is shocking how such a terrible series could somehow find a way to get worse. I mean, there is nothing here. There are vague allusions, but there's nothing here. The last episode of The Prisoner is strange and enigmatic and full of mystery and confusion and open-ended. This is nothing. There's nothing here. I don't care. I've spent 17 hours slowly learning not to give a fuck. And then in the previous episode, we play Back to the Future 2, but then that's snatched away, and so we're left with, so what the fuck did happen? And then we go into this, and it's not that nothing's answered, it's nothing starts. Nothing starts, finishes, nothing happens, there's no middle, there's no beginning, middle, or end to any plot, idea, concept, or story.
Infinity symbol, Brad.
Yeah, there's
no
not
beginning, middle, or end.
Toilet chair.
Ugh. Seriously, it's an infinity symbol of crap. Like, it's not infinite in that it's always going on. It's infinite and nothing is happening at all at any point in infinity.
That toilet chair represents the fact that David Lynch is convinced that his shit don't stink.
Why? If you wanted to say the infinity symbol in the fact that this is like a cycle, oh, this is all beginning, it's a new thing and it's happening, and we've hopped dimensions or whatever the fuck, or that the evil continues, or Judy's still playing a game. Like, who gives a fuck? We didn't know anything about Judy until about a minute ago. Like, we just found out that this was a big secret. You know what? I'm not here to talk about Judy. We're not gonna fucking talk about Judy. Judy can go fuck itself.
Judy.
Ugh. Garbage fire. After finishing this, I was like, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but the new season of the X-Files was a better return.
Whoa.
Wow.
And that had the most racist thing I've ever seen.
That should tell you something if you know Brad.
Yeah. Hated the X-Files, but it was only 6 episodes, and it knew what it was. This sure as fuck doesn't. Oh, this is garbage. This is the worst thing I've ever watched. And now I'm talking about the whole series.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No, don't watch this. This is bad. 2 out of 10 flaming garbage fires.
Okay.
So generous.
No. So you're gonna
I'm not giving it a 2.
No.
No.
She has some self-respect after all.
I know.
I just think it could have been more offensive. Is why I give it 2.
True. Okay. Fair.
Toilet
You
chair.
give it a goose egg, Mel?
A goose
Big old,
egg.
a big old turkey. What are you gonna give it?
I'm giving it. Yeah. Sure. Like
Face the microphone.
Well, yes, I will. I'll give it 1 out of 10 deep fried guns. I don't care. Yeah. I've stated before that I just want this show to go fuck itself. I don't know. I'm done. It doesn't exist in my mind anymore. No, I'm done with it. I'm done.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Yeah, I feel pretty similar. I will give it 1 out of 10 dead fucks. And, I just hated this, and I'm trying not to let it taint my enjoyment of the original series.
It won't.
And I used to feel like Twin Peaks, this fictional place, I used to feel like it was home almost.
It still will be.
And
just forget about this one.
Think of how good you felt when you saw Pete going fishing.
I know, yeah,
exactly.
That's just, it makes me feel warm inside, the old one, and it's been such a big part of my life since 2010, 2011 or so, and to have me not care about that part of my life anymore, it's really depressing, and for me to hate Twin Peaks is the last thing I ever wanted. So this whole
you don't hate Twin Peaks. This wasn't Twin Peaks. You do not hate Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks was awesome. You still love Twin Peaks.
This is like we're having an intervention for Matt.
Yeah.
Step back off that ledge slowly and calmly.
Twin Peaks The Return, you've hurt me in the following ways.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So I was planning on doing a series recap episode, and I don't know, maybe do
show us on the doll where Twin Peaks touched you.
Maybe do a review of the next book and stuff, but at this point I just want to... I'm done. with Twin Peaks. I'm done.
Hey, guys.
I don't need any more.
When they came out with that really, really shitty Ghostbusters remake, it doesn't mean Ghostbusters 1 disappeared.
True.
It's still almost a perfect movie.
But anything extra that comes out about Twin Peaks, don't expect us to cover it here. Unless I hear it's the best thing ever.
The only reason that statement makes me sad is for this podcast.
Yeah.
I wish we had something else that we could talk about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because, I like this, but I don't,
You're going to start up that Littlest Hobo podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There's a voice. Keeps on calling me.
All right, so we got tons of feedback. Should we do it or should we save it?
Of course, let's do it.
Do it.
All right,
I still got drinks.
Brad might be murdered by a hurricane in a couple days. We have to do it now.
Okay. Matt A wants us to start with his before we get exhausted.
Sweet. That's so considerate.
Fair point. We always finish with Maddie, so.
So who wants to take it? Or
I'll do it.
Oh, me.
Oh, you guys can fight over it.
Okay, you go, Brad.
I don't even know if it's gonna let me post it. What?
It's so
I'm
long.
gonna go get some podcast juice. I'll be right back.
It's not letting me post.
It's because it's really long.
Holy shit!
Break it up.
Because it's so long.
Break it up.
Don't know.
Take it up to this part, and then do the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll grab that half and see if it lets me post.
Well, you're
that.
copying. I'm gonna audibly mix.
My God, Matt, it was so long I couldn't even paste it in the Skype chat. That's all right though. This is the last chance you'll have to have a word about the show on this. So, Alirio left, did he, for a sec?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
so
get
you
some
can
drink.
start it, Brad.
Okay. When Gordon told Albert and Tammy that the ancient malevolent force known as Jaude came to be known in modern times as Judy, my mind flashed to The Simpsons when Freddie Quimby berated a French waiter for his pronunciation of chowder, saying Jaude with an exaggerated New England accent makes the scene so much better. Go on, give it a try.
Jaude.
Jaude. Yeah, it does.
I will tell you now. Some people say, "Why Jaude?" I say, "Why not Jaude?"
Check the tapes. I predicted Bob would eventually be destroyed by turning into a large papier-mâché ball before getting punched by a twerp with a green fist. Called it. Bobby says what we're all thinking. What is going on?
Oh yeah, he missed that whole thing, and that was...
Yeah. I love seeing Bobby one last time, and Lucy shooting CSI Cooper was a great moment for her character. But I disliked everyone else in the sequence because their reaction were, once again, out of proportion to what a normal humans would be. They are all completely unfazed by what they're witnessing. Even Frank, nearly murdered moments prior, cannot be bothered to act shocked, horrified, scared, relieved, anything. They shrug, I shrug. Sadly, this scene is the highlight of the finale because it's all downhill from here. Contrary to what Lynch Frost apologists on the internet proclaim, I did not need everything resolved in these last 2 episodes. Agreed. I did want one of the big questions from episode 8 answered. What was the frog moth, and who was the girl that swallowed it?
That swallowed it.
I tried to fix that for him.
You're not allowed to do that.
Sorry. We initially suspected the girl was Sarah Palmer, but then we did the math and Sarah was either too young or too old. I forget which. I think she was too young. But even if it was Sarah, what did it mean? I've read half a dozen reviews / recaps of the finale. Oh, God. Ugh. Guys, for the record, I don't read anything except checking Twitter before we record because I just don't want to even know what people are saying. And nobody knows for certain. Episode 8 was a lot to endure, so having zero to pay off to that makes it all the more pointless. Yes. We did see Sarah Palmer attacking that famous photograph of prom queen Laura Palmer. I don't understand why. There's a lot of bold there for some reason. But RSVP photograph.
What?
Oh,
Nice.
yeah, that bold for some reason is not in his original email. It just got formatted that way into Skype for some reason.
Oh, so your Skype is changing things around here. Okay, well, I'll take that into consideration as we continue. Then an Asian woman given no lines but forced to cackle like a simian is transformed into a white woman, and Agent Dale Cooper goes through a door. It is at this point I began to lose all interest. You made it that far. The pace, which was already slow, sputters to a dead stop. We could check on some of our original cast members, or our new cast members, like Amanda Seyfried, Ashley Judd, and Balthazar Getty, who we haven't seen in ages, but instead we're going to watch Kyle MacLachlan drive a car for fucking forever.
It's brilliant!
Questionable bold. I cannot tell you definitely what transpired in the final hour of Twin Peaks: The Return, but apparently nobody can. My back to normal typeface interpretation cobbled together from those various articles. All right, let's find out what people are saying. Is that Cooper traveled back in time before Bob in a Ray Wise disguise, a wise guys, if you will, and I hope you do, definitely, could kill Laura. The only way to save her was to take her and himself out of Earth Prime into another reality where Laura is somebody else and her childhood home is occupied by another family. No, I mean, maybe that's what happened, but clearly that wasn't the plan, right? Because why would he go? I don't know. The matriarch of which has zero reaction to being awoken late at night by a pair of weirdos. Again, with the frustrating non-acting on this show. Well, it's because that's a normal day living in the actual house, apparently. Just a bunch of people dressed in denim all the time. Can we see your house? Fine. Finally, Laura's trauma reverberates throughout all realities when confronted with latent memories of her past, and she screams. All right.
When you said that, like, all I just pictured was David Lynch wearing denim saying, "Can I see your house?" And they're like, "Okay, weirdo." He's like, "No, I directed the original show."
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I want to see.
Yeah,
I want to see
whatever.
David Lynch in Canadian tuxedo.
Yeah.
Gross. Okay, I've seen a little bit of people talking about this parallel universe thing. The thing is, if we're saying parallel universes, Cooper can't have knowledge of all the universes. Otherwise, why would he assume that Laura Palmer knows she's Laura Palmer? Wouldn't saving her be enough in, like, not letting her know that she's Laura Palmer? Because otherwise, that's not saving her. That's putting her back into the firing range? I don't know. Whatever. I guess question mark, he says. Even if that makes a kind of sense, I still can't explain Diane Cooper. Or which version of Diane the other version of Diane saw at the gas station. Are we still on Earth 616? Or are we on Earth 811, where mutants are enslaved by Sentinels? Maybe we're on Earth 20604, where Thor is president. That would be such a better world if Thor was president. Oh, I wish Thor was president. Nobody told me that when I signed up for this series, I'd be taking a trip through the multiverse. If that is indeed what is happening, because it's all speculation at this point, heavy on speculation. I'm all for mysteries and ambivalent endings, but the narrative here is so muddled that all I can do is blindly grapple for explanations. There's no explanations. It's garbage. But I do not feel the time and mental energy I need to expend in order to figure this shit out would be worth it. There's nothing to figure out. Everybody, stop trying to figure it out. There's nothing there.
But Brad, there's got to be a secret message.
Nope. David Lynch does not think that way. Like,
no, he doesn't.
I mean, that's not his thing.
Everyone, he doesn't think that way. If you think he thinks that way, you're a dum-dum on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, use the internet and figure out how he thinks. He does things on a whim. He does single takes all the time, and he just cobbles things together. Have you seen Inland Empire?
Exactly. And his excuse for it's like a dream. I like the way dreams feel. Well, cool. And Mark Frost's whole thing is like, UFOs and space mummies. I don't know. Like, who the fuck cares?
Nice.
If it was a Mark Frost idea, we'd be like Buck Rogers or something. Like, I don't know. It would not be good either. Both of them are terrible in their own ways, and they got real fucking lucky with the original Twin Peaks. I do think Twin Peaks: The Return is a bad television show. There may have been fun or entertaining moments along the journey, but it is objectively a bad show. Is an art subjective, you say? I think it can be. How you feel about something, like whether you're entertained or not, is subjective. Television as a medium has certain rules and standards. There are books and university courses that teach these standards. How to write a screenplay, or how to edit film. If something fails to meet those rules and standards, I say we need to classify it as objectively bad.
Thank you, Matt.
It's not over. Alirio, you can take the second half.
There's the second half? I don't see it. Oh, has it been pasted?
No,
awesome. This is what good looks like. And now I'm going to explain television to a group of individuals on the internet who don't even listen to your podcast. Narrative. Not simply a beginning and an ending, but a course upon which the viewer travels. Everything encountered along the course serves a purpose and enriches the experience. The program needs a consistent mythology, an internal logic. There were too many dead ends in The Return, too many things that did not add up. Scenes existed in isolation. Who was the sick girl in the car? Who was Uzi Pussy Gravy Sword guy in the jail? All those fucking randos in the roadhouse? On and on. Character. A good test is, does the character have its own belief system and autonomy, or does he or she act at the whims of the plot? Does this character feel lived in? Like if you turned off the program, he or she continues to exist and live his or her own life? And a good character demonstrates growth, unless the writer is making a point that the character is incapable of growth. Many people felt unreal to me on The Return, mostly in how they reacted to events. Many characters were absent for long periods of time and did not have arcs. Like, we learn Ashley Judd has a sickly husband. And most of episode 18, I didn't even know who was real and who was a doppelganger and who was a tulpa, and etc. Theme. Really good programs have something to say, either something timeless about human nature and the world, or something timely about the world we live in right now. Is The Return saying anything important? Perhaps that evil is pervasive. Perhaps that events are cyclical. I'm not entirely sure. Without a strong narrative, it's tough to say. Pacing. When things are always frantic, there is no room for character reflection and development. There is no room to breathe. When the pace is too slow, everything feels weightless. Without momentum, the narrative stalls. The attention wanders. A good television program knows when to speed up, when to slow down. The Return is mostly slow and bloated. According to the IMDb, at least a dozen people were credited as editors. I struggle to believe there was even one. We all remember the floor sweeping scene. In episode 18, Cooper drove some more. Did you spot the owl in this scene? Sorry, I read ahead. Did you spot the owl in this scene? It threw itself out of the car. It was so fucking bored.
It was so bored.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't read that. It was too funny. Did you spot the owl in this scene? It threw itself out of the car. It was so fucking bored. Tone. A good television program also knows when to be funny and when to be serious. Really good television can evoke multiple reactions in a single episode or a single scene. That equates to the human experience. Think of the drama mask with the comic face and the tragic face. You need both, or everything feels samey. The two primary modes of The Return was dread and absurdist humor, but mostly dread. The finale was 99% dread. The 1% which broke up the monotony of the tone was Dougie returning to his wife and son. A brief moment of joy in a sea of sameness. The show certainly never made me feel sad. The closest I came was Margaret's death, but that was mostly because I projected my feelings about the actress onto the character. Originally, I empathized with Sarah Palmer for her terrible losses, but then she was repurposed into a man-eating monster with a removable face. No explanation given, by the way. I believe that what many people took away from Twin Peaks: The Return is what they projected onto it. They wanted weird. Lynch and Frost gave them weird. And because it's inaccessible to most audiences, due to its subject matter, general awfulness, and the fact that it aired on Showtime, by convincing yourself you loved it means instant admission to a club/cult of other misfits and outsiders. As a study in human psychology and group behavior, this is fascinating. Our Facebook group alone is a petri dish of true bizarreness. As a television series, this is an objective failure on every level. There wasn't even a single Mike and Nadine scene. Case fucking closed! Thank you, Twin Peaks Podcast. Thank you for not censoring your opinions. Thank you for being my light in the darkness. I can't think of a better group of individuals to explore the multiverse with. I vote we go to Earth 23848, where Aunt May is a superhero with shrinking powers, and she's known as Aunt Ant.
Nice.
Thanks, Matt, and thanks for sending in feedback each episode.
Yes, thank you. Except for one.
Except for that one you missed. Because we recorded on a Monday, probably.
Oh, how dare we?
This is much better.
I agree with everything you said. And it was very well thought out. Despite what some people may accuse you of. I'm sure they are.
I mean...
he's just a Twin Peaks Podcast sycophant, this guy.
Yeah.
I'm just impressed that he did, like, all that research. Like, found out, like, how many editors there are. Like, he, had descriptions written out for, like, everything that a TV show needs, you know? Like, that's amazing.
He put thought into his criticism, but all people will hear is wah, wah, wah. That's
Maybe we should call Matt A.O. Wambulance.
yeah. No. Alright, so next is Luke. Who wants to take that one?
I'll take it.
Okay.
Nobody else
I'm gonna
is
go
jumping.
Get wine while you do that.
Do all your feedbackers have biblical names, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because Jowday is actually Yahweh, which is Jesus, so...
Jesus.
Yeah. It's all the Bible,
He's my mechanic.
Okay. And, now an ending. What a great ending part 17 was. From Lucy unexpectedly saving the day to Freddy's fight with the Bob Blob, it was fun, and Cooper saving Laura Palmer but losing her again was a fitting bittersweet conclusion. It's just a pity it kept going on from there. If I had to say anything positive about part 18, it was good to see Cheryl Lee again, and I suppose Laura's alive, maybe, so that's a plus. As for this season as a whole, as crazy as it sounds, despite its many, many issues, having Twin Peaks back has been good, even if it was just to hear you all ranting about things like screensavers and Belushi's. It's been a real blast listening to your show again. It's easily my favorite podcast. Aw. I appreciate your sense of humor, the fact that you aren't afraid to point out Lynch's shortcomings or make fun of certain people who take TV shows way too seriously. It's because of your show I sought out many of Lynch's other movies, and again, while I have adored some and loathed others, it's been a fascinating ride. So in conclusion, it's been great having both one of my favorite shows and my favorite podcasts back. Overall, I give this series 7 out of 10 Cheryl Lee Shrieks, and your podcast 10 out of 10 Laura Palmers, as that's the highest praise I can give. What, no 11 out of 10s, Luke? Sorry, best
excuse me, but that's mathematically impossible.
That's impossible.
Crank it up to 11, Luke.
Yeah. Thank you. Caitlin, you want to read one from Daniel?
Sure. Hello, Twin Peaks. What?
Sorry, we have a lot of Daniels. Go ahead, Caitlin.
Okay, I will try and say this Daniel's name correctly when I get to it. Okay. Hello, Twin Peaks Podcast. I haven't seen the last 2 episodes yet, but I just want to thank you for helping me through this 18-hour your podcast was the reason I did not quit. I survived Dougie, Jim Belushi, a magician, the fireman, atomic explosions, Woodsman, the evolution of the arm, the teapot solution, best bad name ever, and very bad CGI, especially in the Red Room, only with your help.
Nice.
There wasn't much Twin Peaks in this season, but there was so much Twin Peaks in your podcast. Thank you. Greetings from Germany. Yay. Daniel Neugebauer.
Nice!
I love that.
Yeah! Oh, wait!
PS.
One little PS to read. Okay. P.S. One last question. The old Twin Peaks was creepy, and I think the obscure, unexplainable mythos and its unique symbols, the Red Room, the Giant, the Dancing Dwarf, Bob, the room above the convenience store, etc., help to keep it creepy to this day. Do you think the new season and Mark Frost's book explained and showed us too much about this mythos, and it lost some of its creepiness?
Yes.
Oh, we just got some anonymous feedback.
Oh.
From who?
It's anonymous. That's how anonymous emails work.
Who gets to read it?
Mel, you read it.
Okay. Dear Twin Peaks Podcast, I am out. Well, did we finish answering
sorry.
Daniel's
Creepiness?
question first?
Yes and no, I would say. It's a mix.
Do you think the new season and Mark Frost books explained and showed us too much about the myth?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, as we were saying before, midichlorians.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, some anonymous feedback. Dear Twin Peaks podcast, I am outraged by your coverage of this show, as I am a person who hangs out and writes things on the internet. This isn't real. Mainly, I am emailing to complain that Mel has not received... This is from you, Brad. Mainly, I am emailing to complain that Mel has not received enough hate mail. I am glad to see Brad is regularly lambasted for not agreeing with my feelings, but Mel largely goes under the radar. This is bullshit. I, for one, am preparing a series of tweets, Facebook messages, DMs, and telegrams to change this affront. Love the podcast. Hate you all.
Hey, can I go off on a digression?
Sorry, Brad. I shouldn't have gave it away.
Yes, you can.
Many years ago, when my lovely partner Christine's grandfather was still alive, we went and spent some time with him, and he had a friend whose son was getting married, and she didn't go to the wedding for some reason. She didn't really explain why. And she's from Europe, the old country in Hungary, and I guess still never really fully adjusted to modern times, and wanted to send a telegram to her son on his wedding. And so we went searching for a place where we can get a telegram, and we get to a post office and a grocery store, and she asks the young lady behind the counter, "Yeah, I would like to send a telegram, a message to my son." And the girl looks at us and looks at her and says, "You mean an email?"
Aww, that's great.
What do you do in that situation? I don't know.
It was lovely.
It is lovely. Aw, I like it.
Oh boy, where to begin with this? Sorry, I'm just looking over the show.
This is from
And yes, I accept all criticisms. People can swear at me as much as they want.
Don't ask for it, Mel. Don't do it.
I'm
Don't do
asking
it.
for it. Like, go
Mel,
ahead.
you're the worst. You suck, but I'm in
ahead.
love with your hair. I just want you to know.
Yay!
Also, I just wiped wine off Mel's nose. She
That's
has no
delightful.
red wine on her nose for some reason.
Also, the way you overuse delightful is delightful.
Delightful.
So who's this from, Matt?
It's from Will.
No.
Will.
Will.
That Will.
That will.
Will.
The will.
So another digression. I was in Vegas with Will many years ago.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Each of us there, and he lost his phone 5 times.
Amazing.
I might be exaggerating, but it was definitely 3 times he lost his phone.
I love Will.
I love Will so much. I miss him. I want to spend more time with him. Okay. Oh boy, where to begin with this? Overall, I enjoyed the new season. Like you all, there were things I enjoyed more than others. There were things I changed my opinion on over the course of the season. Every time I started to hate Dougie, something that would happen that would make me like him again. I'm glad that the Joneses got their own Dougie in the end. At least I think that's what happened. The last 2 parts... Pardon?
They got their own doggy.
Last 2 parts had me up until the part where Cooper entered that room. Doppelkoop was finished off faster than I thought. We cheered here when Lucy shot him. He never got to have a confrontation with Good Coop, which I can live with. Thank goodness Freddy was there, because he was the only one who could punch Bob out of the show. Once Cooper entered that room, the show started losing me. Part of me wants there to be more, but the rest of me doesn't care. I think if the last 2 episodes gave us more resolution instead of presenting us with more questions, I would be fine. I've seen other shows do a much better job of wrapping up the current story, while also opening the door for new storylines. Maybe I like it more when I rewatch it. What the fuck was going on with Audrey?
Spaceship.
Thanks for continuing the podcast. I hope to hear you talk about Twin Peaks sometime in the future. The last dossier, maybe? Will it even be the last dossier? Later, Will.
Aw, thanks, Will.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah.
All right. This is very short. It's from Jonathan. He says, "Fuck you, Lynch. Seriously, just fuck off. Go fuck yourself. Fuck you. Regards, John."
Nice. That was delightful.
Yeah.
To the point, to the point.
Concise, baby.
Yes.
It's so hard to fuck up a finale. Like, a final episode's so easy to land.
Really?
Like, yeah. I mean, you can get away with anything for a finale as long as you just don't fuck it up. Like, it's so easy because everyone's ready for a finale. It's like, closure. It's gonna be nice, and maybe you leave something open. It's just easy. Like, you don't.
I've often stated that the finale of MASH was, I think, my favorite finale of TV ever. Mostly because in a show that was full of episodes that were just fancy and lofty and funny, they had a couple maybe heavy ones, but to end on such a profound case of post-traumatic stress and you as a viewer end up being traumatized, that was really crazy. But it was pretty awesome. I haven't seen a lot of finales that I actually enjoyed, to be honest. I actually find that they're really hard. Maybe I'm just...
I'm easy. It's easy for me. I'm like, all right, well, it's because it's the conclusion. It's like all you gotta do is just fucking cross the T's. Like if you even do just a real lazy finale, just like let's get everybody together and just say goodbye. It's like, well, you did your job, finale.
Like a clip show for a finale?
I mean, even sometimes you can pull off a clip show. Like, at least you know, because you know it's the finale. You're building towards the finale. All you gotta do is land it. Like, it's not that hard. The middle should be the hard part.
Yeah. Although I am, like, apparently the only person in the universe who hated the series finale of 6 Feet Under, so...
I didn't watch the last 3 episodes, so...
Uh-oh. Chad.
Chad. We got one from Chad.
Oh no!
He's got a key in his shoe.
Not Chad.
A couple of keys, actually. He had one for the cell and one for the gun locker.
Yeah.
What if it's a universal key?
Yeah.
Then why have 2 of them?
I will read this.
Why have 2 universal keys?
Yeah.
Answer me, damn it!
In case you break one.
Parallel universes.
Keys do break. I've had this happen. Turns out I was way off. I don't know how to feel about the last 2 hours. Firstly, we had a little closure on Evil Coop for now, and Chekhov's fist came in handy, although it seems odd that brute strength will suddenly become more important than mental strength to beat Bob. Meanwhile, I love the idea of the whole timeline being twisted out of whack by Cooper saving Laura, the scenes with Pete walking out to go fishing to see nothing out of the ordinary, just to go fishing. Mind blown. Could Lynch be rewriting his own history and retelling the story of Twin Peaks with 25 years hindsight?
There is no story of Twin Peaks if there's no Laura Palmer death.
A lot more driving.
Yeah. It's just people driving. In between the car ride with the real Diane, then the new Laura Palmer, the last episode seemed to play out in real time. Gah! And then just when we thought we might get some closure between Laura and her mother, bam! Time jump. Maybe? Random scream and cut to black? Audrey! We hardly knew ya! I didn't get what I wanted out of the season, but I did get entertained for the most part. I look forward to the fan edit, turning this...
18-hour movie.
Bleep bleep.
How dare you?
Ow.
Turning this 18-hour movie malarkey into a 6-hour miniseries. Hell, you could probably drop the stuff I liked into a 3-hour movie and be done with it. You're probably right. I hope it gets another season, but I can't imagine this season has attracted and retained a new audience, and I imagine many old viewers, as different to fans, would have given up. Are old viewers different than fans?
Yeah, there could be people who are like, oh, I remember that show, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't for me.
Sure, yeah. Would have given up. But there's obviously story in there, it's just drowning in indulgence.
Yes.
I'll give Lynch his due as an artist, but someone needs to focus that vision somewhat. If it doesn't get picked up again, I wouldn't put the blame at the foot of Showtime. As a financial decision, it's a tough call, and the results of this season for Showtime would be questionable. But I definitely would like to see the continuing adventures of Cooper and co. Thanks for the podcast. It's been a great listen over the last couple months, and hopefully further into the future. Regards, Chad.
Thanks, Chad. Alright, another Daniel for...
Me!
Oh, or Alirio can read it.
Whoever wants to.
Alirio, you're so energetic.
Yeah.
Let's give this one to Caitlin.
My podcast juice has been awesome. Go.
Give this one to Caitlin. You have the next one.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all dead. Those are mine.
There's a lot left. Sorry.
Caitlin,
I'm interrupting you. I'm sorry.
This guy also must be from Germany because he wrote Twin Peaks podcast as one word.
Oh.
This is Daniel Mueller or Mueller. Yeah.
And so it's over again, or is it? Maybe we're all in a time loop. I've looked in the crystal ball I borrowed from Charlie, and I've seen that you probably hated the finale, but it's only a TV show, so that's fine. Smiley face. As for me, did I understand all of it? No, not at all. Was it what I expected? Part 17? Yes, quite a lot of it. Part 18? No. How could you expect something like that? Did it bring closure? Hell no. Does that upset me? It sure does, but I believe that is sort of the point. Did that diminish my enjoyment of it? Absolutely not. The final episode seems to have split the internet fan base in two, even more than the series as a whole, and a lot of people are really pissed off. I get why, but I'm not. The finale was upsetting in many ways, but it left me with so many thoughts and feelings, and to me, that's what good art should do. I use art in the widest sense here, not as some sort of highbrow, you don't get it. I'm angry, sad, bewildered, and frustrated, but I'm happy to be all of those things. Now I have a Twin Peaks hole shaped in my life, and I guess it's up to me to fill it somehow. I have no illusions that there will be another season, although this finale, in a way, was much more of a cliffhanger than the old Season 2 ending, and I'm quite sure that the final dossier won't fill that void if the secret history was anything to go by. This time was much harder for me to put my thoughts into words in English, which, as you know, isn't my first language, so I apologize if I seem incoherent or pretentious. Thank you for a wonderful time. Not at all.
No, yeah, great.
Totally
great.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you for a wonderful time these last few months. I haven't always agreed with you, but I'm still glad to have shared this roller coaster with you, and I will miss all of you, Matt, Mel, Brad, and Caitlin! ! But if you want to... If you want feedback, if and when you read the final dossier, I will be back. All the best and take care.
Awesome.
Oh, now I feel like we have to come back, but no.
I'm not opposed to reading it if it's going to be as stupid as the last book.
I don't want to give them more money.
I want the audiobook read by Gordon Cole.
All right, Alirio, here's one you can read for Russ.
Starts with hello, most magnanimous.
Yeah.
Hello, most magnanimous TPP. Oh, you
with
know
the Trans-Pacific Trade Partner.
Yeah. I'm down with TPP. I hope this isn't too long. My apologies if so. Sincere. From the maelstrom of intractable glowing praise, I reach out to one of the few beacons of sanity in the sea of grotesque interpretation and ocular to neuron obfuscation. No, wait. You all must be blinded by the brilliance of the return. This Lynchian masterpiece, 90% Lost Highway, 90% Mulholland Drive, 90% Inland Empire, 15% Wild at Heart, and 3% Twin Peaks, but starring some of the cast of Twin Peaks. Brilliant, I say. I had the rug pulled out from under me. Lynch took me for a ride, and I just soaked in the experience. The experience of seeing the same tropes he's done 1,000 times before, the same fan wank that the cultists love, yet cast aspersions toward hypothetical ones, the lack of emotional connection, the lack of resolution, the lack of plot, the lack of tone, the ugly cinematography, the hodgepodge of acting, the abundance of pretentious love? See, I don't know, is that a blank love or something love? I don't know what you mean by underscore love, question mark, ellipses, close parentheses. See, I just made brilliant art. I combined the feedback of hundreds of other feedbacks you've read before, but then you thought I hated the show, and then, bam! Do I love it? Bam! Now I'm my mirror self. Bam! Now I'm in another diner. Bam! Now I don't behave like any normal human would. Bam! Woo! Subverted. Brad, what did you think about the hour-long movie that followed the final act of 17-hour movie? That hour-long movie sure seemed to be a perfect adaptation of a third-rate late 90s Grant Morrison-esque comic book if it were produced by Stephen Moffat and directed by Jim Jarmusch. The Return was one of the least interesting, most derivative, offensive, and least rewarding viewing experiences of my life. Finally, thank you, Lynch, for having one of your character's last jokes be an erection joke. You are a gross misogynist. Your writing states it. Your lens proves it. Thank you for casting for having one of the least diverse casts in modern prestige television history. Unless you are a prostitute and alien or evil, or you don't interact with any major character, you are white. Have you been to Snoqualmie, North Bend, or even Eastern Washington? Yes, there are a lot of white people, but it's not 1982 anymore. No Latino/AX representation, no Asian, East, or South representation, no other people of color. Kiss off, Lynch, Frost, and the producers. Kiss, kiss, love, love to all of you at the Twin Peaks podcast. Russ.
Thanks, Russ.
Thanks, Russ.
Indeed.
That would make me feel good.
We shall only read the feedback of those that love us.
I think most of these are like, feel good feedback so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even if they say bad things about you, feel good anyways. Who the fuck cares?
I want to read an angry one.
Yeah.
You want me to write one?
Brad, you feast upon other people's anger and like.
Well, I'm just so used to it. It's comforting like a blanket.
Aww.
All right. This one's from Martin. Martin. From the Netherlands.
Oh, it's an MP3.
Yeah. Could Brad play it?
Sure.
He has a note. It says, "Hello, y'all. I made a recording what I thought of the end of Twin Peaks immediately after episode 18 ended. I added it as an attachment to this mail. Let's see what he thinks."
Yeah. We're gonna have to play that backwards.
I think he was. I heard what the fucking something.
Let's do it one more time.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. I have it. It sounds like this when you play it backwards. Here we go.
Love it.
Let's do it one more time. What the fucking something.
All right, it's not playing. Well, we heard it that one time.
You can reverse it, Matt, when you edit.
If we reverse it, it'll be him speaking forwards, trying to say words backwards.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
We need subtitles.
I like the idea. You just had to refine it. I couldn't understand the last half.
No, you just need subtitles, like in the show.
Well, how does that work on an audio podcast?
He would have just sent it to us in the email.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, when you edit it, you just record yourself quietly just whispering what he's saying. What the fuck?
You're saying you just replace it with this. That's me celebrating the end of Twin Peaks.
It's like when people have just a slight accent and then you hear other people talk over them because they're afraid that most people won't be able to understand what they're saying, but they only have like a slight accent. Yeah, I always find that hilarious.
Well, thank you, Martin. I appreciate the sentiment. I just couldn't understand it.
We understood fuck this show or whatever.
What the fucking something.
Yeah, so that's good enough for me. That's all I need to know.
I think you're on our side. Who wants to read the next one?
I can do it. Or if someone else wants to.
Go for it.
Okay. Hey gang, long-time listener, first time writing in. Ooh. I just wanted to mention an alternate storyline idea I had while watching the finale. Some of these ideas may have been mentioned by others already, and perhaps fanfics are already being written about them. But anyway, here goes. I was watching the scene near the ending of part 1 of the finale where Cooper and young Laura meet in the woods at night, and she chooses to take his hand. As she does this, the scene switches from black and white to color. Lynch then shows us the iconic imagery of Laura's corpse wrapped in plastic, but now, imagine that her dead body remains in place, as we're shown a clear sign that Laura's corpse is actually a doppelganger. So, following this, here's how I see things play out. The scene then switches back to the previous night, where Cooper continues leading Laura through the woods. They succeed in making it to the Red Room, and wind up creating Doppel Laura using a Doppel seed, the same way they made Dougie II. Doppel Laura exits the Red Room, and this is whom Bob eventually murders in a train car on this fateful night. Cooper exits the Red Room and later captures Leland Palmer, but Bob escapes the jail cell. With Bob's escape, Cooper would have known that Bob would not stop until either Laura was possessed or dead. So, using his 25 years accumulated knowledge, Cooper invents his plan to switch her with her Doppel Laura and to keep the real Laura somewhere safe, either by using the Red Room or in an alternate world, like where the country version of Laura isn't doing such a hot job keeping out of trouble in the cosmic FBI witness relocation program. This frees Cooper to become Dougie, trick Bob, and deal with him in the sheriff's department as shown earlier in the final episode. Then, it would be safe for Laura to return to the world, or at least no longer have to live in fear. And so, Bob is defeated, and Laura lives. 2 birds with 1 stone. And if you think about it, wouldn't it be interesting if we discovered only in the final episode that while the original question was, who killed Laura Palmer, this season all along was about, what if Laura Palmer survived? retroactively made me feel better to think both that the real Laura didn't suffer being murdered because of Dale's intervention, and that secretly Bob was being played for a fool. In my opinion, if Lynch had successfully shown us something like this, it could have actually been the last-minute miracle that redeemed the season in my eyes. Anyways, those are just some thoughts I had. What do you guys think? Cheers, Riaz. And then P.S. Just putting it out there to all the Audrey Horne cosplayers. It would be fun to see your interpretation of the new moves that Sherilyn Fenn added to Audrey's dance.
Sure, we'll see that at future fests.
Although I agree that Riaz's idea is fucking awesome, it would not redeem 16 hours of mostly crap.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
It was hard to read.
It would be cool, and it would justify the whole time travel thingy, and it would justify the whole seed thing. But
you're having to
boy, oh boy.
retcon to fix the 18 hours of garbage.
Yeah.
I think it would have upped our ratings by a couple points, but that's about all it would have done. It still wouldn't have given a pass.
No.
Yeah.
Brad, you want to take Glenn's?
Sure. Dear Twin Peaks podcast people, thank you for making such a well-made and entertaining podcast. Your podcast made the experience of the original series and everything up to this last episode worthwhile, even when the show itself was not.
I'm sorry, it's not hate mail, Brad.
I'm just going to interject. Oh, but you're all assholes. All right.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of thoughts to share about the finale or the season as a whole. Lynch has made me feel a feeling that is the death of art. Apathy.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. Apathy towards the character's story, the deep meaning that I'm told is super deep and super meaningful, and apathy towards the future of the show. And also to you guys, because you're assholes. Lynch and Frost had an amazing opportunity to tell the story they didn't have the chance to finish before, and they squandered it epically, just like you assholes.
I'm feeling bad.
Wow, his abuse is relentless.
Wow, he really takes some turns in this email.
We get it. You hate us. Oh my god.
I feel sorry for the original cast, and as Evan pointed out, it is sad how many projects didn't get made so that Lynch could make whatever this was. If they somehow greenlit a fourth season, the only way I would watch it is if Lynch had nothing to do with it. Agreed. He was given complete freedom in 18 episodes and showed that he couldn't be trusted to, or doesn't have the ability to tell a worthwhile story. Agreed. Anyone who likes The Return isn't wrong for liking it, but it is filled with narrative and technical fuck-ups that are difficult to defend. It's not artistic, it's not deep or nuanced, and it's not groundbreaking outside of how far it tested its audience patience. But guys, don't you realize that if it makes you feel something, that's what art is? No, it's not. I've been arguing that forever. That's not what art is. Your definition of art sucks if you think that. The series was
Brad, you skipped the part. He says you guys are all assholes.
Oh yeah, no, we're getting that.
Okay, sorry. I read ahead.
Yeah, the series was a wreck, just like your podcast. And with a few worthwhile scenes and characters, I will have to extract what value I can from this 18-hour No, Siri, I'm not talking to you. Stop it. Wait, no. I will have to extract what value I can from this 18-hour exploration of bad cinematic decisions. We didn't need another Twin Peaks season, but it would have been nice if we had gotten one. Also, you fucking assholes are the worst. I can't stand you dumb, stupid podcast people. Thanks for all your hard work, Glenn.
P.S. You suck.
Thanks, Glenn. I hope this isn't the same Glenn that tried to convince me to buy a whole bunch of gold 2 years ago.
Dollars for gold.
This is from Terry. What the fuck was that? I've been hanging in there for all series waiting for Coop to return. When he woke up and said 100%, I cheered. Sure, Lynch wasted 16 episodes, but it was worth it because he was setting us up for the Coop awakening emotional reveal. After episode 16, I thought to myself, okay, it was a long journey, but now the real Coop is going back to Twin Peaks. For episodes 17 and 18, he's going to get to the bottom of things, work with Hawk and the Bookhouse Boys, interact with all the old characters, drink coffee and eat pie. In the last episode, he'll defeat evil Cooper, and our minds will be blown when he lives happily ever after as Dougie or something like that. Instead, we got bad writing, bad storytelling, and a half-assed ending that was very unsatisfactory. Out and about and house. Haha, you talk funny. Oh, yeah, he made me do Canadian things. You son of a bitch. Out, about, and house. Oh, you clever person. Okay, here's a big one. This is from Charles, who wants to read a big one.
I'll do it. Okay. Dear podcast crew, I'm a long-time listener that finally decided to share some thoughts, and I just started posting on the Facebook page too. Better late than never, I guess. Some quick background. I've been a fan of Twin Peaks from the beginning, and became obsessed during its original ABC run. I was never the biggest fan of Fire Walk With Me, having always regarded it as a huge letdown. However, Season 3 may have forced me to reconsider. With Twin Peaks The Return, I decided to branch out and add 2 more podcasts, plus yours, to my listening pleasure. Big mistake. The first, the EW-sanctioned podcast for Twin Peaks specifically, I stopped listening to almost immediately. In episode 2, when Ronette Pulaski, Phoebe Augustine, was credited as American Girl, this led one of the hosts to theorize that David Lynch was directly referencing the song American Girl by Tom Petty. Once he started reading the lyrics and forcing the most ridiculous connections possible between it and the show or character, I was out.
Oh.
Oh my god. The second podcast fared a little better, but after a while I could no longer take the disingenuousness of its host. For example, when one opined that the new Twin Peaks simply doesn't give a fuck whether anyone likes it or not, and therefore I love it, I couldn't take them seriously anymore. Frankly, I've never heard more excuses made for a show sucking than this one, ever. It's an 18-hour blah blah blah, not a series. It's all leading somewhere, just be patient. It's artistic and different, that's why you don't like it.
You turned into Mr. Mackey.
Okay.
I thought you were Janice from the Muppets.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I'm only going to do that, but only if you pay me to take my clothes off. Wait, that's my favorite part of the Muppet Show, is that there's chatter, 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 everyone's quiet, then Janice goes, no, I told him I wouldn't take my clothes off unless you paid me. It's like, sorry. You just wanted the same old thing. With that last one, if they mean I wanted it to be good, like the old show, then maybe they have a point. In the end, your podcast won the day for me, and was the only one I continued listening to throughout the revival, so thank you for keeping me sane. Yours was the only one that had honest opinions, and that took the show and Lynch to task for its failings and sometimes successes. Every other podcast simply sucked Lynch's balls for hours on end. Forgive the crudeness, but I don't know how else to describe their sycophancy. That's pretty good. As for the finale, I'm at a total loss. The fan theories are creative, I'll grant them, but are really just a lot of hot air. They're trying to make sense of senselessness, and to each their own. However, there has to come a point where we acknowledge that this was not auteur brilliance, but cinematic masturbation. That's me clapping, because that's fucking awesome. Yes.
Oh, I thought that was cinematic masturbation.
No, I think that's more.
That sounds like regular masturbation.
Hey man, I'm only an amateur Foley artist, okay? Lynch as Cole deciding to hold back for no reason. The Jaude explanation is just bad writing 101. Worse yet, Jaude ex machina, as I call it, is the magical crutch everyone is leaning on now to explain away every plot hole in this series. And how can you change their mind? You can't. If I watched this series and concluded that it was a metaphor for the Crimean War, how could you convince me otherwise? It's what I believed. Sorry. I find Crimea funny. Okay.
My father died in the Crimean War. Thank you very much.
So sorry. For the last 2 episodes, I love how everyone keeps saying the moral is you can't change the past. Well, duh. Like we actually didn't get that or something. For me, the problem is that it comes out of nowhere. Dougie is Cooper again, and apparently clairvoyant now, as he conveniently knows everything outside of what he's been witness to. But once Bob is seemingly gone, why does he want to change the past? How did he even know this was possible? He may save Laura, sure, but that won't stop Bob or anything else. And just my opinion, Cooper has always been more pragmatic than that. What's done is done. I mean, this isn't Star Trek. I'll admit, I like that they included the Fire Walk With Me footage, as I instantly remembered while watching the moment Laura screams, having seen something or nothing behind James. That was kind of cool, but the footage of Cooper not matching really blew it. But is Cooper...
Can I just interject? Can I interject really quick? That now I want season 4 to be, it's just going to be Cooper, and Sam Clemens and Whoopi Goldberg just hanging out, Star Trekking it up with Laura Palmer.
Well, you know, Mr. Cooper, many people would say that, in fact, my accent is incredibly outrageous. Look at my eyebrows. That's right, Guinan.
But as Cooper leads Laura away, she disappears. That to me meant the past didn't change, but who knows? Who cares? Skipping ahead, did anyone else notice that the car and hotel were different from when Cooper and Diane checked in the night before? Cooper doesn't seem to be acting like Cooper now, especially in the diner. Why take the new Laura back to Twin Peaks? What would this accomplish? The woman in the Palmer house using the names Chalfont and Tremond, to me, were clues that something otherworldly was trying to block their way from getting to Sarah or something else. That and her odd behavior, of course, but everyone else keeps saying, no, it's other dimensions, it's other timelines, it's some damn thing. As the credits rolled, I actually flipped my middle finger towards the screen. Oh, I did that too. Because the whole experience was just so unrewarding. As I said to my fiance throughout, I don't know what's more disconcerting, that the show is not good or that people keep putting it over regardless of how bad it gets. As for the future, I seriously doubt a season 4 would be any better. After all, since the fans already think season 3 is perfection, what incentive does Lynch have to course correct and do better? It'll just be more of the same. To wrap up, thanks to all of you for being the voices of reason for Twin Peaks: The Return. Yes, it's just a TV show, but wanting said show to actually be good is not a crime. Is it? Take care, Joey. P.S. Whoa! That's not what PS is.
P.S.
Whoa.
Thank you. This might be where I lose you, but I think you should give Jim Belushi a collective reprieve. After all, out of this series' most egregious sins, I think he was near the bottom.
Oh.
Now listen, you Belushi apologist. I have one thing to say to you repeatedly. Cheeseburger, 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 cheeseburger. The fact that Jim Belushi tries to do comedy is ridiculous. Thank you for your feedback, Joey.
Yes, thanks. That was very nice.
Indeed.
It was well thought. I agree with all of it. Caitlin, do you want to read one?
Yeah. Hey, TPP. What?
It's from Ryan.
Okay. Hey, TPP. I'm not sure where to even begin. I'm sure you are flooded with feedback. Correct. So I'll try and keep it short. I'll start with a Cooper showdown. I really didn't have any expectations about what the showdown should look like, because I figured it was a giveaway that Green Fist Freddy, what a tongue twister, was going to clobber Mr. C. I was pleasantly surprised when Lucy ended up shooting Mr. C, but disappointingly surprised to see that Freddy take on Blob Bob in what resembled a boss battle in a video game.
Yeah.
Blob.
It's kind of a letdown to watch a brand new character with total screen time of 15 minutes and an 18-hour get to be the hero. Meanwhile, the viewer's hero, Cooper, watches the fight like he's Mickey in Rocky Balboa's corner. I was also upset that Hawk didn't have more involvement, considering we were made to believe he was super important during his talks with the log lady. I was fine with the remainder of the episode with Cooper going back and saving Laura. However, I don't think it was necessary to have nearly 15 minutes of Fire Walk With Me replayed in black and white. 5 minutes would have sufficed. Now on to part 18. I've stated it...
Let's not go there.
We'll just go through it super fast. I've stated it on the Facebook group, but I'm okay with whatever version of the story ending you believe. I don't care whether you think it's the Bobby Ewing ending, referencing the twist from the show Dallas, where every story from the previous season was just a dream, and Richard Cooper just dreamed the entire event of Twin Peaks, or Richard Cooper. or the Saint Elsewhere ending, referencing the twist that the entire show is made inside the mind of an autistic kid, or in this case, Gordon Cole's mind, or the Planet of the Apes ending where Cooper travels to another timeline after saving Laura. My problem is with the execution. We have a sex scene that doesn't appear to belong and lasts way too long, and a ton of silent driving around. I've read comments from those who love this episode claim that the silent driving was necessary to build tension and set a mood, but 20 minutes of driving in silence doesn't build tension.
Nope.
It makes for a sleepy viewer.
Yes. I was very asleep. I fell asleep several times during this.
Oh my god,
You
if you
can't
kept
build-
dozing off and waking up and they were still
Oh.
driving,
Yeah,
and you have that kind of
exactly.
time dilation that happens when you
Yeah.
fall
Oh.
asleep for 5 seconds but you think it's been 20 minutes.
I
You poor
forgot I was
thing.
watching.
You witnessed 4 hours of driving. Oh my god.
It was like a waking nightmare.
I just kept like petting a dog, and then I forgot I was watching a television show, and I would look up and be like, oh yeah, this is still happening, isn't it? Huh. If you can't build tension in less than 10 minutes, you're terrible at filmmaking.
I think you mean 18-part television making.
Okay, and finally, this ending had no build-up. Yes, we got the comment from the Giant about Richard and Linda in part 1, and Gordon's dream where Monica Bellucci says the whole "we are like the dreamer who dreams and lives inside the dream, but who is the dreamer?" from part 14. That simply lays a foundation and doesn't build up the ending. By the time we got to the closing scene, I didn't care. I think I would have rather had part 18 follow Jerry Horn in his travels from Twin Peaks to Wyoming.
Yes.
It's a car drive too, though.
Not sure if there
Better
will be
car
next
drive.
time. Yeah. Not sure if there'll be next time, so I'll just say so long for now.
Yay.
Thanks, Ryan. He's
Yeah,
got a
thank
little. He's got a little addendum where he says, "I forgot to add this one postscript to my feedback. Could they have chosen a more flattering image of Major Briggs to have floated around the fireman's house? He looks like the personification of Humpty Dumpty."
Oh my god! Nice.
All right, we've got 2 left.
Oh my god.
You can do it!
This one is big.
It's an 18-hour movie.
And this one is also big.
How
There's
dare
a dog, though. There's a dog. A picture of a dog, guys.
Oh,
Oh, and it's a...
Yes! Oh
It's
wait,
a
I have a cool
Doge.
picture of a dog too. Here, let me cue it up.
Guys, it's a Shiba Inu. I love those.
It's a what?
A Shiba Inu. You know, the
Language.
Asians. It's Shiba Inu.
That's very racist of you.
Aww,
So sweet.
that's so
Nice.
soft.
Ah,
All right.
love.
Okay, let's read this one from Chris. Do you want to read it, Brad?
Sure.
It's long. But that's fine. This is probably the last time we're gonna do this, though.
He better be telling me to fuck off, because there's not too many more opportunities to tell Mel to fuck off.
Hello, Twin Peaks podcast! Exclamation point. I'd ask, how are you today? But I think I already know the answer! Exclamation point. First of all, thank you so much for all the free entertainment and for sticking with this series to the end to keep me company on this crazy journey. This will be a long email, and it would be awesome if you read it, but no worries if you don't. I think it's therapeutic just to get it all down in words. We're just therapists for people. I love it. The TLDR version is David Lynch is not to be trusted. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 18 times, shame on me.
That's perfect. That's wonderful.
Why Twin Peaks The Return didn't work for me. In all seriousness, I did sit through all 18 hours of this experience of my own free will, knowing full well that it could turn out this way. Opaque, inconclusive, and frustrating. I think I was just hoping irrationally that there would at least be some clarity, resolution, and satisfaction, because that's just what you do. There was no excuse for this. Lynch had 3 years to write, direct, and edit 18 hours of film to wrap this up. I used to think that season 2 ended inconclusively because it's an imperfect world. Shows get cancelled, and Lynch didn't get to have his way, and he and Frost wanted to set up a problem to solve in season 3 on the off chance they got picked up again. Fair enough. It happens. Supposedly, that's why we needed a season 3. So then, why the hell did season 3 end with even less clarity and resolution? The season 2 ending was frustrating, but at least clear. We knew the stakes. We knew everyone's motives. We witnessed a clear outcome. Wyndham Earl kidnapped Annie. Cooper goes to save her. Bob kills Earl, possesses Coop's doppelganger, and escapes the Black Lodge, while good Coop is trapped in the lodge. It's weird and bleak and leaves us in limbo, but at least we know where we stand. Last week, I was glad to see Cooper come back, but this week I just feel so disconnected, mostly because I have no idea what the hell he's trying to accomplish or what's at stake in this last hour. Bob's already gone, Richard is gone, I don't know what Jow Day is exactly, or how you combat it, or why it needs to be feared, defeated, or confronted, other than Cole/Lynch said so. That makes it hard to invest. Is Cooper's goal to save teenage Laura, perhaps Superman style, by flying around the world? She was already dead. Oh, right. Yet she lives. I've gotten used to the fact that she was dead over the last 2 decades. Well, I don't know if she got used to that fact. And never expected that to be undone, or thought it possible. Her story is tragic, but the urgency is kind of gone, you know? But if those are the stakes, at least let me know, preferably over the course of a few episodes, so I can be invested. What we got instead with the return was the butterfly effect, with Kyle MacLachlan playing Ashton Kutcher. Now I'm just picturing Ashton Kutcher with old man ears. By the way, if you ever go back and watch The Return, look at those old man ears. It's creepy. He's only aged in the ear.
Well, also his neck a little bit.
True, but mostly the ear. Teaching us, Kyle MacLachlan playing Ashton Kutcher, teaching us the valuable life lessons that whenever you go back in time to make things better, you make them worse, or different, or something. We got punked. Oh, and about the Bob boss battle. I wasn't too fond of the showdown with Bob, rendered as a Nintendo 64 boss battle. Acquire the +5 Green Fist of Doom power-up. Wait for the boss to charge, then punch once. You'll take some damage, so restore your hit points with a med pack where Bob recovers. This boss will take 3 hits before succumbing. Also, isn't Bob more of a spiritual, mystical force, typically not the kind you can defeat by punching really hard? For example, if Cooper had emptied his magazine into Bob back when Bob took Josie, I feel that wouldn't have had much of a difference. Mm-hmm. How's Annie? I mean, where's Audrey? Where's Audrey? With about 30 minutes left to go, I realized, oh, we only have 30 minutes to resolve Audrey's storyline. Actually, I hope they don't resolve it, because I've decided I'm postmodern and avant-garde and stuff, and so from now on I don't like easy answers. Instead, I like seeing a non sequitur of a scene where Cooper schools 3 lazy stereotypes of white southern rednecks. And now I need to see a Mythbusters episode where they put a couple of loaded handguns on a fryer.
Yes. Yes, I want to see this.
20 minutes to resolve Audrey's storyline. No space. I still don't know what Cooper's trying to accomplish or why. Gas station. More driving. 10 minutes to resolve Audrey's storyline. You know what? I changed my mind. I want easy answers, and I don't concede that this makes me shallow. I search for hard answers at work when I figure out rheumatoid arthritis treatment guidelines. There are no easy answers when I'm fixing my mother-in-law's finances. I'll have to see my best friend move away. But damn it, when I sit down for an hour or 2 on Sunday night in front of the TV, I think I deserve some easy fucking answers. I am so confused. Are we in an alternate universe? Did bringing Laura back have some kind of ripple effect, like in Bradbury's A Sound of Thunder? 7 minutes left to resolve Audrey's storyline, and at this point I've given up. If the rest of the episode was straight-up exposition, David Lynch in front of a camera just telling me what's happening, don't think he didn't consider doing that. We won't be able to tie up loose ends with any clarity or satisfaction. And so I'm checked out. 1 minute left to resolve Audrey's storyline. Haha, Cooper asked what year this is. Silly Coop, don't you know there are no easy answers? What year is this? It's the year of our Lynch, 19-700B or something. Or maybe it's the year 10,191. On the Lynch Apologist. apologist. Listening to the Lynch apologist is like listening to a defense attorney as a trial unfolds and more unfavorable facts come out about his client. The evolution is something like, my client had no motive, to, okay, he had motive, but he's innocent, to, okay, he did it, but he had a bad childhood. It's the same thing for the apologist. Episode 1. No, Lynch is going somewhere with this. He's going to tie it all up for you. You won't believe how mind-blowing it will be. Episode 5. It's an 18-hour movie. It's just going to take time to come together. Episode 8. Oh my god, that was amazing. I just can't even! Exclamation point, exclamation point. Episode 12. Well, maybe he's not going to resolve all the plot threads, but the storylines are converging and we're just going to... Ooh, I can't even read this with a straight face. And we're just going to trust him. Episode 16. See, Cooper's back! Exclamation point. I told you it would be awesome! Exclamation point. Episode 17/18. Well, of course it's not going to make sense. That's the beauty of it. Lynch isn't going to disrespect us with clear motivations, plot, and resolution. Why, were you expecting something else? Random thoughts. Today's show is brought to you by Philip Jeffries and the number 8. David Lynch finally realized no one saw Fire Walk with Me, so he decided to air an extended director's cut during the finale. Nice. The fireman, auditions for a position with Apple by demonstrating the new iPad for Major Briggs. Wow, Mr. C in a chair of fire. Now I know why he didn't want to go back to the lodge. Can we expect the next film to be called Fire Sit With Me? That's the best metaphor for the series. It ended with Fire Sit With Me.
Everybody was sitting all the time. And there was just shot, reverse shot all the time. And a little sheriff hat that went bloop for no fucking reason.
This needs to be the quote for this episode, Fire Sit With Me.
Please, Fire Sit With Me needs to be the title of this episode.
That needs to be on the fucking Blu-ray cover for the box.
I already have the title of this episode. It's If You're Not Interested in David Lynch's Penis, This Isn't the Series for You.
All right, I'll allow it.
All right. Diane and Cooper getting to know one another would have been better with flappy arms. Who's the dreamer who dreamed? Me, because this episode put me to sleep. Again, thank you all so much. You are so fun to listen to, and I hope you all have been having as much fun making these podcasts and I've had listening. And well.
As. Snidely, he met as.
Nope. Gotta go by podcast rules. Again, thank you all so much. You are so fun to listen to, and I hope you all have been having as much fun making these podcasts, and I've had listening. I'm sure it's not as easy as you make it look, Chris.
Man, that was the best Snidely whiplash I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
It entertains me. That's what
Lucky you got 2 celebrity people to read your feedback.
Yeah.
Wow, pretty amazing.
That was great. Thank you. Alright, so last one is from Sean. He's the one who sent the picture of the Doge.
The Doge.
She's a Doge! Oh.
So he says, I've waited until the last minute to write this email, and I'm still not sure what to say. That finale left me angry, upset, disappointed, disturbed, and while intrigued, not at all fulfilled. Clearly that's what David Lynch wanted, and that's fine. It's his work of art. My problem isn't so much with the ending per se, but with the entire season as a whole. The original series ended much the same, with weirdness, confusion, frustration, and intrigue. In fact, our culture spent the following 25 years re-examining it and trying to figure it all out. But while its ending was unfulfilling, the journey that was seasons 1 and 2 more than made up for it. It was compelling, quirky, campy, dark, disturbing, funny, strange, artistic, dramatic, silly, mysterious, and most of all, endearing. The journey of Twin Peaks, the return, was only a handful of those things, the least of which was endearing. So when recommending the original Twin Peaks to others, I was never worried that they might not like the ending or that they'd have to suffer through the late, mid, episodes of Season 2 because I knew they'd get enough entertainment and enjoyment from the whole thing to make it worth their time. I'm not sure I can say that about The Return because both the journey and the conclusion were frustrating. And that's my problem with the ending. If you're going to tease my emotions and test my patience for 15 hours, then I'd better get almost everything I want during the final 3 hours. But no. We endured 15 hours of Dougie to get a handful of scenes with the real Agent Cooper, only to lose him again for the final hour and a half. And what did he do during his handful of scenes? Nothing. Sure, he was his optimistic and charming self, but he wasn't the one to kill his evil doppelganger, nor the one to rid the world of Bob. He didn't even think about or know how to find and rescue Audrey from whatever that was, bring drug-dealing kingpin Red to justice, figure out the epidemic that seems to be causing much of the town to grow physically ill, save Becky from Steven, if he's even still alive, nor find missing Billy. Seriously, why did Cooper even come back to Twin Peaks? He didn't do a goddamn thing. Oh, that's right, he reunited with Diane. This whole arc of him and Diane being long-lost lovers. What? So in seasons 1 and 2, he's just sending tapes to his soulmate while claiming that Wyndham Earle's wife, Carolyn, was the love of his life. That age was the only thing keeping him and Audrey apart, and then fell head over heels for Annie. I just don't buy the Cooper and Diane love angle, no matter how hard it was pushed on us. Laura Dern was incredible throughout the series, so take nothing away from her. But why couldn't the arc just been given to Audrey? And why have a random Brit be the one to defeat Bob with a dishwashing glove? Why not have the giant tell Cooper to buy the glove? And why introduce Red as a criminally insane drug lord in the vein of Frank Booth and have him hook up with one of our most beloved characters in Shelley just for no reason? Do you know how much screen time was wasted on car rides and sweeping up of peanuts and a French whore putting her heels on and screensavers and the re-airing of scenes from a movie everyone who was still watching the show had already seen a dozen times? The answer is more than enough time to create actual storylines involving the characters who had already long been established in Twin Peaks. That is what upsets me the most. David Lynch can be weird and artistic and dark and subversive. I like that. That's what drew me to Lynch in the first place. But why didn't he create those things within the story that had already existed? Mel, do you want to read the rest?
Yes. I'm sure you guys have all said this by now, and have touched on everything else I could talk about. All that said, somehow I didn't absolutely hate it. Like I said, the ending didn't really bother me as an ending. I expected as much. I suppose mostly, I just feel that with 18 hours of a new Twin Peaks, I wanted more than I got. And I think really good storytelling would have gave me more money. Or, well, I don't know what I said. I just read that as money. And I think really good storytelling would have gave me more. Money.
We're gonna pay you to watch this show.
Lynch dominates in mood and art, etc. And The Return brought out the best in that. But by and large, this did not have a great... oh no! This did not have great storytelling and plot development. I had assumed Mark Frost would ensure that it did, but it didn't. That's what made the original series
Mark Frost?
Yeah, Mark Frost. Yeah.
All right.
Come on, Brad. Like,
great storytelling. Ron Hubbard. Nixon.
I'd assumed Mark Frost would ensure that it did, but it didn't. That's what made the original series so great. David Lynch's direction pushed the boundaries of TV so far outside the box that TV execs couldn't handle it, while Mark Frost reined it in just enough to make it coherent for viewers. That's what I'll finally say about The Return. The mood and atmosphere is second to none, but you still need a strong backbone of plot to make good television. One last thing, after a season of desperately asking to move on from Dougie, I found myself during part 18 in the 5th hour of that silent car ride thinking, oh god, please cut to Dougie. I'd rather know what Dougie is doing. So congratulations to you, Lynch. You win. What a troll job. Thank you guys for the podcast. Sorry that you've gotten a lot of hate. For that, I'll attach a picture of Hiro, my Shiba Inu, almost 2 years old, Sean. Oh, Sean, your dog is adorable.
What a cute dog.
Indeed.
Thanks, Sean.
Shiba Inus are the best.
Thanks everyone for your feedback.
That just reminded me of something. Why does it fucking matter that Janie E and Diane are related?
It doesn't.
Ugh. Garbage.
They just are.
They're with the same man.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Weirdest family reunion ever.
Oh man.
Oh man, yeah.
Talk about awkward.
David Lynch really has like a weird twin fetish.
All right, well, does anyone have any final thoughts on Twin Peaks: The Return before we close the book on that forever and pretend it never happened?
As someone who is very busy and watches Zero TV almost a year now, for me to have dedicated time out of each week to watch this and to have it result in this, I feel like a fool. There was some stuff I liked, but really, to be honest, it wasn't worth my time. It really wasn't. And I'm kind of just like, ugh, I didn't expect it to be... I never expected it to live up to any expectations I had, but I never expected it to be such a big disappointment. I gotta say, I really tried to approach it with an open mind.
Yeah.
And Matt, I remember chatting with you very early on saying how, maybe you're bringing expectations to it, But the reality of it is that one of the expectations I think we all had was that it wouldn't be just awful.
Yeah. Well, people keep telling me that they can't recapture the old feeling of the old show, give up that dream and stuff. I'm like, well, if Ash versus Evil Dead can, bring about the same tone of Evil Dead 2, then that just proves to me it can be done. Like, it's not impossible.
And if The Force Awakens can almost entirely recreate Star Wars, tone and stuff, and still feel new, then yeah, you can make new stuff, guys. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Don't sleep on that DuckTales reboot.
Yeah, I need to make time for that. I need to make time for that,
So, Alirio, you're gonna renounce television forever now?
Well, it's just I just have so little time. So we make time to watch some Dragons and Boobies, but that's not coming back until 2019.
Dragons and Boobies? What?
Yeah, Dragons and Boobies, Game of Thrones, basically Dragons and Boobies.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And so we do that, and then I think, apart from maybe some really funny short stuff on YouTube that I like, and I gotta keep watching those Breath of the Wild videos on YouTube. But complete on that game.
You're playing that game, are you? Nice.
Yeah, well, gotta use the Wii U for something.
Well, that's a good choice.
We're enjoying it very much, my son and I.
Good.
Yeah, it's great. I gotta say, disappointed overall with this season. But I'm glad I watched it, because it really helps to kind of look at something that someone that, I really, really admired and really enjoyed a lot of what David Lynch did. And then I kind of started losing interest after a while. And it just kind of confirms that he's not the same director and writer he was when Twin Peaks first aired. This isn't a failure of Lynch. I think this is just what Lynch does now, right? And I want that to be clear to everyone who's still listening, that it's not like I think David Lynch failed. I think it's just what he does and wants to do now is just no longer anything I'm interested in, because it doesn't come with any coherence. And
I'm going to disagree with you and say that I agree with Matt A. that this was objectively poorly made.
Yeah, and I wouldn't disagree with that. It's just that that's what David Lynch now does. You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't care if it's good. like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just he doesn't care.
That's what makes it great.
He's apathetic to it.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually care if it's objectively good or bad. He just wants to put something together. He's having a great time, right? And he's loving doing this, or else he wouldn't do it. It's not just money, okay? It's not just money.
I think he just likes playing in the editing room, and he just
loves that.
Isn't interested. He's not interested in the final product.
No. He doesn't care if it's objectively good or bad. He just wanted to do this. This, however, is not something that I find objectively good. I find it objectively bad, and I didn't like it. But it's okay. He's allowed to make shit.
Yeah.
We all are. We could totally make tons of shit. It's perfectly fine, as evidenced by that shit chair in that last part. That's the underlying message, folks. That's the message. You want to find a message? You want to find the answer? There's a shit chair and a shit bucket and toilet paper. Okay?
David Lynch will take a shit in your living room.
He will take a shit. And there was a really nice rug. It really pulled the room together, guys.
There were 18 rolls of toilet paper in that package.
Oh my god. Yeah. Sorry, I've gone on long, but that's my final thoughts.
Okay. Caitlin, you've been pretty quiet. What do you think of this whole series?
I'm just tired. Very tired of Twin Peaks at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think I'm done for a while. I don't know. Unless something amazing comes out, I think this might be the last episode of this podcast. I don't know. I'm completely...
You need a break.
I need a break from it. I'm out. I don't know. I just, it turned me off. We'll see how I feel in a few years' time, maybe.
Yeah.
Guys, your own fan fiction and act it out. It'll be great.
Kieran,
I'd like to...
Yeah.
You could have Morgan Freeman on whenever you want. Consider.
I would like to add something, though, that to what you said, Alirio, about not being interested in what David Lynch does anymore. And it's just, that's just the thing. People don't seem to think he's a person. They seem to think he's, more than a person. And he's just a person.
Just a guy.
He's just a guy. He's a guy that's, taking things that he thinks are cool. Yeah, that's exactly. He's just a guy. He's a dude like the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know? He's just a dude with a magnificent penis. That's what we've learned from this season.
Yeah.
Just a glittering, fantastic penis. Just up on a pedestal.
Shining beacon.
Brad, do you have any final thoughts, or you got it all out?
It's just garbage. Just fucking garbage. Wish it had been good, but it wasn't good. It just wasn't good.
Do you think this will taint your memories of the old one?
I mean, I don't think so, because the old one still exists and the old one's still good. It's just, this is garbage. So it's just, I never have to rewatch this again. Maybe I'll rewatch the Wally Brando scene again. Other than that, no, I don't think I have any need to ever watch this again.
Me either. I'm definitely not buying any Blu-ray releases or anything.
If there are, though, deleted scenes that come out and you have access to them, would you watch them?
No.
What if they were from the old show, that they released them on the Blu-ray of the new show? Just to get you to buy
that's sneaky.
Devilish.
Yeah.
I would love to hear a David Lynch audio commentary for not 18 hours, but
he would never do it.
Oh no, I know he wouldn't. But just if he was just talking about something else while this was playing in front of him, I would just like to know that he was forced to watch.
I know
18
how
hours of this.
I know how you could get us all to buy the Blu-rays. Mike and Nadine do a commentary for every episode.
Yes.
In character. In character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, we only got one scene with Mike.
I know. It's such a crime.
And basically one scene with Nadine. It was all the same, except for the Ed thing. But yeah, 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Well, one good thing about this series, every time I yell so loudly that I start drooling out of the side of my mouth and I bring my handkerchief up, I will think of Dr. Amp.
Dr. Amp.
I will say I really liked Miguel Ferrer's portrayal of Albert. He was still Albert. He acted like Albert. That felt true.
That was
to the
great.
character. And
Dr. Amp, Jerry Horn, Albert,
Big Ed, Norma.
Big Ed and Norma. Man, Norma's got all that bookkeeping still left to do.
Nadine, Mike. A lot of the people still had a handle on their characters, and I liked them, and I liked...
And can we all just give a nice, awesome round of applause for how gorgeous Bobby Briggs is? Salt and pepper hair, man. He's got it going on still. You don't need that Shelley.
When I was in Tennessee, I found out a friend of mine, her husband looks freakishly like young Bobby Briggs.
Oh my god.
That's weird.
Yeah, super crazy.
Did you snatch him?
Just snatch him.
I did not snatch him.
Add him to your collection.
Snatch him up with your dog stealing truck.
He's not a miniature golden doodle. I don't snatch people.
Aw.
So you allege.
Well, yeah, that's it. Thanks everyone for listening to this podcast over the years.
If you're sad that this podcast is going away, you could listen to one of my podcasts.
Yes, I was just about to ask you if you have any plugs. Go ahead.
There's Redemption Cast. We're halfway through season 4 of Angel.
These aren't even done?
No, because life. And there are 4 of us. It's hard to schedule. And my other podcast, The Chunky Runner Show, is back. And there might be a new episode up this weekend. I might be running a 5K in an apple orchard.
In an apple orchard.
Yeah.
Sorry, I love it. Chunky Runners.
Chunky Runner Show. Absolutely. I have a new segment. I go for a run, and after the run, I will rate it as either chunky or runner, and we see how I felt. It's lovely. Please check it out.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
All right, Brad, what do you got to plug?
Guys, you can hear me on Calavici Fashion Cast talking about Quantum Leap with Claire and Tammy. We just did a Christmas Carol-esque episode, which was super bonkers. So check that out. Also, you can hear me on the Ramjack podcast. We just reviewed an episode of Three's Company that was pretty kooky. But coming up, guys, at the beginning of the holiday season, our annual 9/11 special. So check that out.
All right, and Caitlin, this is your last chance to plug a podcast.
Okay, I'm gonna plug a podcast, guys. I'm gonna plug Tales of the Black Badge podcast.
What's that?
That's what you should listen to. It's about a show called Winona Earp, and it's filmed. It's filmed in Alberta and like roundabout where I live, and it's really beautiful. So
nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and see you never. Bye.
Aww, maybe see you.
Maybe
never?
We'll see you someday.
Question mark? Question mark? Question mark?
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Another 25 years.
And one more thing. I think I speak for everyone, you guys, who listens to this podcast. Caitlin, Mel, Matt, and Brad, you guys are assholes.
I know.
We are.
Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody.
But especially me, right?
Especially Mel. She doesn't hear it enough.
Mel.
I just...
The worst.
I really need it.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Check us out on twitter.com/TwinPeaksCast. Search for the Twin Peaks Podcast group on Facebook. And visit us on twinpeakspodcast.blogspot.com. Email your feedback to twinpeakspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.